Mic check, mic check. White History Month. I'm gonna celebrate with my friends. It's White History Month. So be sure to tell everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate. This one's gonna be White History. It's White History Month, and I'm gonna celebrate America. It's White History Month, and I'm gonna scream it to everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate, but this month's gonna be White History.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am JLP Peterson. Good morning. Welcome to the show. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. JESSE. Jesse. And my biblical question, are you a tumbleweed? Are you a tumbleweed? Amazing question. The response has been very interesting. Are you a tumbleweed? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JessieLeePeterson.com/show. JessieLeePeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about doing whatever it is you're doing, you can be listening to the show on your iPhone, iPad, by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Or Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App. It's Tuesday. Hey, we're taking your calls on everything. But it's Tuesday. It is Country and Western Tuesday. Bring back. Bring back. Oh, bring back my country to me. Bring back. Bring back. Bring back my country to me. What the? Who let the dogs out? Amazing. Amazing. Happy White History Month. It's White History Month. We're going to celebrate White History Month. It is our eighth year of celebrating white history. And for those who might not know why, or you just maybe tuned in for the first time, I started White History Month 8 years ago this month, today, because I realized that white history, American history, is being destroyed. And they are destroying the monuments. They are destroying the monuments, the statues. They are destroying the names and and respect of white men who founded and built the greatest country on this side of heaven. And they celebrate everything but White History Month, European white country. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. Somebody got to try to remind the generations to come and the young generation now that don't really know history. And so 7 years ago, we decided we're going to do it the best we can to keep so that it's not forgetting. They have Black history, gay history, woman history, Mexican history, Chinese history, every history but white history. Does that make sense to you? And so, like, we're not going to let this happen. And so whatever little bit we can do to remind you here at JesseLeePeterson.com, the Hake Report, and the American Anchor Baby, and wherever else, we're going to do it. So we first started White History 2018. 2018. So like 7 years ago, this is our 18th year. This is our 18th, not 18th, 8th anniversary of White History Month. And I have to tell you, we have your friend, my friend, James Hake's friend, and the Anchor Baby friend on the show today. I could not think of a better person to start this celebration this year. And I want you to, in a minute here, I'm going to be talking to him, but I'm going to play a soundbite from this person. He is amazing. And I just hope that it's in the car or somewhere that he'll be back into politics. I have with me Steve King, and he served in the United States Congress for 18 years, from 2003 until 2021. And he is the author of the book, Walking Through the Fire, and My Fight for the Heart and Soul of America. And we're going to give out his website some more, but you can check him out at steveking.com and follow him on X at SteveKeen IA, right there. Oh, there, not there. I think
you got it. Steve King IA.
IA. And for those who might not remember or know, here's a soundbite from the New York Times on Steve King. Watch this.
It looked like this: 10 feet wide, 13 and a half feet tall. They'd construct itself to be a 12-foot finished wall just like that.
That's Representative Steve King.
We do that with livestock all the time.
Pitching the idea of building a wall between the U.S. and Mexico more than a decade before it became President Donald Trump's central immigration policy.
The wall's going to get built, folks. Just in case anybody has any question, the wall's going to get built.
King has been a Republican member of Congress from Iowa. He's made a name for himself as a hardline opponent of illegal immigration.
He may be the world's most conservative human being.
That's right.
It's our job here in this Congress to decide who will be citizens, not someone in a foreign country that can sneak into the United States and have a baby and then go home with a birth certificate. Preventing babies from being born is not medicine. That's not constructive to our culture and our civilization. If we let our birth rate get down below the replacement rate, we're a dying civilization. Where did any other subgroup of people contribute more to civilization?
Than white people?
Than Western civilization itself, that's rooted in Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and the United States of America, and every place where the footprint of Christianity settled the world. That's all of Western civilization.
Amazing. Representative Steve King is so tough that even the rhino Republicans didn't like him. And it's so interesting to me. Representative Steve King, welcome to the show. Happy White History Month. And thank you so much for coming on.
Well, good morning, Jesse.
Oh,
That
boy.
intro was just great fun for me to watch, and much of that stuff I hadn't really run through my mind in a while. You did a perfect job of putting that together, and
Thank you.
we need to have a good attitude about all of this, but we also need to look into the future, and we can learn from the past, look into the future. A lot of this is pretty simple to me,
Yeah.
and it should be to most of us if we're thinking, but there are those other forces that get in the way of progress for humanity. And so I appreciate you doing this for the eighth time. It's an honor to be here with you this morning.
Thank you so much. I want to ask why you are an inspiration to America, and you're a tough guy, meaning that you stand up for what is right. You're not afraid to stand alone if you had to. Why is it that men like you are attacked by the massive and try to get rid of really fast before you can have a major impact? Why is that?
Well, I put a message to that in my book, Walking Through the Fire. And it's not the only answer to that question, but in the Catholic Bible has the book of wisdom in it. And in wisdom, they predict, there's a narrative that predicts the crucifixion of Christ. And it says, the evil ones, I will call them, they say, let us beset the just one, for he is obnoxious to us. He sets himself against our teachings and charges us with violations of our training. Okay, now if you put the plural pronoun in there and you say, let us beset the just ones, for they are obnoxious to us. You see where I'm going?
Yes.
Human nature is those with the guilty conscience think that they can eradicate the person that's reminding them of their duty. They can eradicate themselves of the guilt and the responsibilities. And so I think being called out too many times is a big reason for that. John Boehner did not like it that I continually called him out. And I know that he was part of the scheme to try to get me out of office. Not just there were many others, though, many others.
Amazing. And so how have you been, and what have you been doing since not being in office? What have you been up to?
Well, there's never any whining allowed in this household, but I'm living a happy life, Jesse.
Yeah.
And I live out here in the country in rural Iowa, and when the corn's tasseled, which will be in about a week, I won't be able to see a neighbor. I've got 8 grandchildren within 10 miles of my house, all in the same direction. We all go to church together, and we go to brunch afterwards, and I go to ball games to no end. I've got a flat behind from the bleachers, and that's the joyous part. And also, I raise a big garden, but what drives me full time, really, 40 or more hours a week, is this Green New Deal hoax fiasco that's being driven at us by the billions of dollars appropriated. Is now wants to build a 2,500-mile pipeline throughout 5 states in the upper Midwest to collect the CO2 from ethanol plants and then pump it into the ground in North Dakota. And not only is that, it's the biggest boondoggle I've ever seen, but on top of that, they went eminent domain to condemn, I'll say, thousands of miles of the best farmland in the world in order that they can have their quasi-monopoly on this CO2, which is 100% government funded out of our tax dollars, money borrowed from China theoretically, and we have Chinese money invested in this as well. So it's outrageous to me, and I fight this every day. We formed an organization called Free Soil Foundation. It can be found at freesoilfoundation.com. We've got a good network of volunteers. Nobody gets paid, but boy, we've got some good workers here.
Right
and,
on.
and so that's what keeps me busy, Jesse.
Is it going to happen? Are you guys going to be able to stop that, prevent that from happening?
Well, when we started, I thought we had about a 3% chance of success. Now I think it's 60-40 on our side. But the political power, and I'll call it corruption, runs deeply into the Dakotas and Iowa in particular, and also Nebraska and Minnesota to a degree, also in Washington, D.C. We are fighting the people that have leverage in Washington to protect their subsidy throughout all the DOGE efforts. They have fought to hold that together, and we have not been able to crack it. But we've also got the courts, and we've got state legislation that's going on. So we're going to fight them at every level, and I tell our team, fight every skirmish, fight every battle, and if you can't find one, go start one. We're going to take them on, or have taken them on at every turn, legislatively and litigation-wise. We've sued them in federal and state court, and we brought legislation in both South Dakota and in Iowa, also in North Dakota with less success. So Yes, we're taking them on, and determination got on our side. They will be defeated. If not, we'll pick ourselves back up and go back to fight them some more.
Amazing. I have so many things I want to talk to you about, but I want to ask the title of your book, Walking Through the Fire. That is an amazing title. Why should people buy your book, and what would they get from it? What would they learn from it? How would it help them?
Well, it has to have a little foundation of the narrative of my life so that people understand how I think and why and the things that I've been engaged in. So that's part of it. And just to give you a little piece of this, often people think that, well, Steve King served in the United States Congress, that would have never happened, but he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Well, that's as your success wasn't rooted on the spoon in your mouth when
Right.
and in your first breath, and neither was mine. But I started a construction company with a negative net worth of $5,000, and I convinced a Democrat banker to loan me 100% on an old beaten up bulldozer that the weeds were growing around. Well, that company is 50 years old this year, and my oldest son owns it. That's going well. And of course, I spent 6 years in the Iowa Senate and then 18 years in Congress. So all of those experiences pushed me out to as many as 70 different countries, dealing with many of the leaders in those countries. So that's some of the background. But the political intrigue is the part that I think will be the most fascinating to people. There are a lot of stories about people's lives out there, mine being one of them,
Right.
but the political intrigue of why these forces lined up and what motivated them to do what they did. I mean, I was in a place where I had won the previous three elections without spending a dime for Congress, not a dime. I didn't buy a doorknob hanger or a radio ad or a flyer or send a mailer. We just did our work. And my reputation was good, and we were winning with 60% or better in each of those. And then all of a sudden, the world caved in on me, and it was bad enough that the Democrats all lined up against me. I expected that. This is, by the way, I live in perhaps the one of the more conservative districts in America. But in 2018, the forces began to line up against me in August of 2018 that told me that it was lined up by the Republican side also. And by the
Yeah.
time we got to the election, I had the chairman of the NRCC attacking me. His job is to get Republicans elected. He's attacking me along with all this negative publicity where wherever I went, it could be a coffee shop in a small town in Iowa, there would be NBC News and a bunch of reporters, fuzzy microphones hanging around my head like I was Gary Condit and Sean DeLevy was missing. And so I went through that and came out of that election. And then I got the message that said they're going to try again. And I didn't believe it, but they did. And so they ambushed me in January 2019 with a New York Times story. And it was a fabricated story. It was a misquote. And but they were all ready to go. That was their trigger. And they launched the entire national media broadside against me. And I became the worst person in the world for, a couple of years or so, Jesse. And I look back on that now, and I think it's amazing that there's enough power in America that they can plan, plot, and predict
Yeah.
that every media outlet is going to attack an individual that was so clean in my background, they couldn't find anything. They had to make it up because I was in their way.
Amazing. While going through that, were you afraid? What were your thoughts and feelings while going through that? Do you remember?
Boy. First, I was stunned that even though I had been forewarned that they would try again, the method that triggered it wasn't what I expected, and I was stunned that it could be launched that way. Kevin McCarthy was all in on destroying me with every power he had, and he more or less led and duped the entire Republican conference. So I'm trying to understand. I have a strong sense of personal loyalty. I don't let friends go easily, no matter what they do. They're still my
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
That wasn't what held up in Congress. It was so bad that with C-SPAN cameras panning all over the House floor, hardly anyone would speak to me on the floor where there were cameras. But I hosted the Conservative Opportunity Society for 16 years, and I would host a breakfast at the Capitol Hill Club at 8 o'clock, a full warm hot breakfast with grits, so the Southern conservatives would show up. And they kept showing up. But when it was off the record, behind the scenes, and so they were fine, my friends behind the scenes, but not very many of them stepped out and forward and to take a couple arrows for me. That was pretty stunning. But here's what I really knew, though, Jesse, is I knew that the Lord was walking with me every step of the way. I didn't know why I was going through that. I
Yeah.
didn't know why he was allowing that to happen to me. And maybe I still don't, although I've got some pretty good ideas. But I would never lost my faith. I was always confident, and I understood this too shall pass. And like I say, I'm in a happy place in life. I'm not glad I went through some of those experiences, but boy, it whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And
Yes.
there's not much they can do to me, Jesse.
They don't. You remind me of men from the old school where men were tough. They didn't feel like victims no matter what they had to deal with in life. They don't make men like that anymore. And as a result, what is going to happen to society as a result of not having men to be strong and willing to go through whatever they got to go through? What's going to happen?
Well, you've recognized that men are being emasculated in our society. I've heard that earlier this morning.
Yeah.
Throughout everywhere, we've got, of course, it's predominantly women by a high percentage teaching elementary school, preschool,
Yeah.
and elementary school. And that culture has been fed this emasculation culture of, no, you need to be more like a girl.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? I have to tell you a side story that pops into mind when you ask that. I have three grandsons, and one of them was just last year. He was playing. He's a good baseball player, by the way, by now. But he was catching, and he took a baseball hard into the hip, and it knocked him down. He's about, is he 10 years old probably, so it gives you an idea. And it knocked him down, and he was laying there writhing on the ground in pain. And but behind the backstop, of course, there's a whole lot of moms and grandmas there, and a few dads, not many. And I'm watching the game, and the women are going, "Okay, shake it off, Jason." I'm going, "Shake it off, Jason. Suck it up. We're raising men here." And when I said that, I got essentially nasty looks and almost boos from all the women around me, like, "You're not supposed to say we're raising men here."
Wow.
Well, what are we out in that field for if we're not raising men here? We've got to do that. We've got to raise masculine men
Yeah.
that are confident, and they've got to become good fathers, good dads, Jesse.
But how would that happen now that they allow women to just take over in every area of life? How would that happen?
Well, it isn't going to happen, unless men start to assert themselves as fathers again.
Yeah.
And this month, this White History Month that you declared, it'll be my three sons and my three grandsons and I will go up and spend about 7 or 8 days in Canada fishing out there on the end of the line where we're off the grid, more or less living not quite off the land, but
Right.
doing shore lunches, and that's what makes men. Young boys growing up around men, we need to spend that time with them. And of course, I'm so happy to have the mix of all my grandchildren and that. That's not the point. But men have to be given confidence to young boys and talk about all the things we went through when we were being shaped as men in our
Yes.
youth. And I do that. I make sure they hear some of my stories.
Right on. What do you think about? What are your thoughts on the Great White Hope, Donald Trump, and his administration today? What do you think about what he's done and what's happening right now?
I'm sorry, I just missed that word about the Great White Hope and what?
Donald Trump. You know,
Okay.
Donald Trump is the Great White
Yeah.
Hope.
Yeah, I do. I know my audio kind of failed me.
Right.
It was actually my ears.
What do you think about
but
what he's doing, and how does it look to you?
I'd just say first with a little caveat, there's two or three things I'd like to fix about that, but that's not many.
Right.
And when he swore into office in January of this year, he spent about 36 hours without any sleep signing executive orders and doing this rolling press conference, multitasking in the most magnificent way I've ever seen a president or anyone do for that matter. And in that first 36 hours, he filled out almost all of my wish list. I had laid down a lot of markers along the way, not just birthright citizenship. Official English is one of those. That list actually goes on quite extensively. But I think, let's see, let me back it up a little bit. It may have turned out to be, in fact, I believe it was in the end a good result, not a good thing that the 2020 election was stolen from him.
Right.
This man has testosterone and he has determination and he has grit. And of all the things that I did to walk through the fire, that was a precursor. Donald Trump walked through the inferno. And it was an endless inferno that went on. And he's been tested for, I'd say, about 9 years. If you go back to when he first announced, came down the escalator in 2015, I believe that was. Maybe it was early 16, I guess. But when he came down that escalator, that started the attacks on him. And as he walked through that, he was resilient. He took on everybody all the time, even little tweets that were inconsequential. He fought all of them. But as he went through, once the election was stolen, it was stolen about 7 or 8 different ways. The 2020 election, he dug in. He showed his true grit. And he had to fight things off from a litigation standpoint, from a lawfare, which we know a lot about, and run a political campaign and keep his businesses running and keep the cash flow going. All of that. He did that. But while that was going on, he was laying a strategy on how he was going to right the ship that was ready to sink, the ship of America, which is the flagship of the fleet of Western civilization.
Yes.
And so I think he put a lot of pieces in place. He created a lot of ideas to do that, and he's marching forward on that. And not only that, but I believe that he understands that we need to restore Western civilization for the world, and he's taking a leadership role in doing that.
Amazing. You mentioned the English official language and birthright citizenship. I remember when there was a major discussion in America about English being the official language. And Americans were fighting to make sure that happened. But eventually that discussion disappeared. And it seemed not to be, well, now it's kind of coming back now, but it seemed not to be as important. Why did that language disappear?
I do think I know the answer to that, Jesse. First, I'll say that as a state senator, I labored for 6 years to establish English as the official language.
Yeah.
And we finally got that done. And it was a task. It was a very difficult task. But in the end, that bill has been litigated twice here in Iowa, and we've prevailed each time with that. And when I went to Congress, Peter King from New York had an official English bill, and I should have respected his bill, I suppose, but I had so much ownership of that issue, I introduced my own. Over time, he stopped, and I kept trying. But in that 18 years period of time, I was only able to force a vote on that once, and that was with a reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act that was led by Jim Sensenbrenner in, I'm not sure what year that was now, 10 or more years ago. And I brought an amendment. It was a hostile amendment as far as Sensenbrenner was concerned. He wanted his bill to be clean, and he didn't want to have anything on it. And I'm thinking this is too important for me to just defer to my chairman of the Judiciary Committee. And so I forced that to the floor. It happened that Mike Pence at the time needed some kind of favor from Jim Sensenbrenner, I believe. I imputed that. That's not his words. And went to the floor to speak against my English bill. He said, I support the policy and I support the language that's in the bill. I support English as the official language, but this is not the time, this is not the place. Of course, it was exactly the time and the place.
Yeah.
It was the only time and the only place that I ever had an opportunity to introduce it. I got 187 votes instead of 218 because of that dynamic that I've described. And there never was another opportunity. The leadership would not let that bill move forward for a hearing to come out of the Judiciary Committee and go through the full committee or to the floor. They just blocked it at every turn. That's why it suppressed the dialogue on it. I'm so glad that Donald Trump has brought this back up.
Yeah.
Congress should pass it. It's the key to assimilation. It's the key to a successful American people.
And it looked like Donald Trump is bringing back the birthright citizenship thing as well. I think the Supreme Court has decided on it or going to decide that birthright citizenship. Have you paid attention to that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, in fact, I was the author of that legislation too, Jesse.
Yeah. Hold that thought for me. Is it a break time then? Let me take a quick break, and when I come back, I want to pick up on that.
Okay.
Amazing. 888-7753-773. Representative Steve King is with me. I got to take a break. Right back. Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature. Happy White History Month. July just feels white. We are celebrating this is our 8th year anniversary of celebrating White History Month. And so happy White History Month, folks. I have with me Representative Steve King. And Representative, I want you to tell the folks how to get your book, Walking Through the Fire, to your website and everything, and then we'll get back into that conversation.
Well, thanks, Jesse.
Yeah.
You can just go to steveking.com, my website, steveking.com, and there just click, and I still got some inventory here, so I'll autograph the books that you buy through that website, but also you can go to Amazon or Books A Million, anywhere where books are sold. That inventory should be out there yet. And I point out that this battle that I spoke about earlier in fighting this big CO2 pipeline boondoggle, if we prevail in that, I'm probably going to be obligated to write a sequel to the book. There's a force of all this together. So it is a fascinating thing to have lived through the middle of, and I do get good reports when people say that, I worked hard on it, and they say the book reads the way I talk. And so if you can stand to listen to me, you ought to be able to read me.
That's right. It's amazing to me that President Trump is working on all the things that you fought for so hard before the president came along. And we were talking about the birthright citizenship. And I believe the U.S. Supreme Court is deciding on it, going to decide on it. Where are they on that at this point, and what's going to happen, you think?
Other than there's a Supreme Court decision that just came down a couple of days ago. It wasn't exactly on point, but it was a case of whether or not they could maintain the position of the president's executive order. More or less, the Supreme Court protected that executive order. I don't know that they came down with a hard decision that said that birthright citizenship is unconstitutional, but they gave more life to President Trump's position on this birthright citizenship issue. And the argument on this is that, yes, there are a few countries in the world that do have birthright citizenship. I actually helped with the Dominican Republic, who share an island with Haiti, as you know, and the Haitians were sneaking across into Dominican Republic for birthright citizenship to have babies so that they could be Dominicans rather than Haitians. And as we worked through that, finally the Supreme Court of the Dominican Republic found that birthright citizenship was not a constitutional right for people that snuck in to have a baby. And when you think about it, if you have the history of this on the 14th Amendment, which says that all persons born or naturalized and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are American citizens. Well, that phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, you know and I know, was put in there. Well, first of all, the 14th Amendment was to guarantee that newly freed slaves and all of their descendants and progeny would be full American citizens along with everybody else. That needed to be put into our Constitution. It was in the 14th Amendment, but there were Native Americans out there that said, I don't want to be, I'll lose my tribal membership if I'm an American citizen automatically. So the phrase in there was subject to the jurisdiction thereof really means that you're not totally subject to that if you're a member of an Indian nation. If you're a foreign national, you're not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That means completely and totally subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Your allegiance is owed to your home country. When somebody sneaks across the border to have a baby, and I've watched it with my eyes, by the way, they sneak across the border part, not the baby. And when someone does that, they violate your law. They are a criminal the moment they step across that border illegally. And if they have a baby, you want to reward them with citizenship so that 18 years later they can apply for citizenship. We have a birth tourism going on where back when I was paying extreme attention to this, now 10 years ago or more, it was a $30,000 turnkey effort. You could be a pregnant Chinese woman, fly to San Francisco, for example, get an apartment there, get all of your prenup care taken care of, have the baby, get a little footprints on the birth certificate, fly back to China with a citizen that could then bring you into the United States and over time. Whole families are brought in like that. It's chain migration, and and we know that now we have fifth column Chinese in the United States, 10 or 15 or more thousand of them. This thing has got to stop. Citizenship needs to be precious. It needs to be respected.
Yeah.
And if we don't use our citizenship to clean up that situation, eventually we lose our country.
Yeah. You mentioned Dominican Republic, and they put up a wall to keep the Haitian out. And so you have a black country putting up wall to keep black people out. And you don't hear anything about that. You don't hear the so-called civil rights leader, the NAACP, or no one complaining about that. But when America does it to keep the illegal out, all of a sudden it's racist, it's wrong, it's a big deal. Why is it that what's good for the goose is not good for the gander everywhere?
Well, we've got this thing, this is White History Month. Why did we ever accept this idea of white guilt?
Yeah.
And now they're telling us if you're born with a lack of melanin, you're guilty. You're an
Right.
oppressor. You should be suppressed the rest of your life. You're a colonizer. You're a victimizer. And I think of this that no, we're all born in the image of God. And he's given us these distinctions so we can tell each other apart, whether it happens to be skin color, or the way our eyes and nose and hair is shaped, right down to the pieces of DNA that are within us. And here's a thought that I've never heard anybody express before, Jesse, and that is that we have, 8 billion people on this planet or so right now.
Right.
And there are not two faces that are identical. There aren't two faces out there that their mother can't tell the difference. I don't care if they're quadruplets, identical twins, or whatever, that nobody shows up out of the random selection of 8 billion. So think of a world would be like if God hadn't created us with these distinctions. We could be talking with each other if we all had the same mask on, so to speak.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to keep my word anymore because, well, it really wasn't me, Jesse. That was an imposter. But the world is ordered by facial recognition in a huge way. Those are distinctions that God has given us. And I had some reporters come in from, Northwestern University out of Illinois. 4 of them came to my house, and they wanted to examine the brain of Steve King so they could go back and write a story for their journalism class. And they kept talking to me about equity, equity, equity. And finally, I slammed my fist down, and I said, get that idea out of your head. You'll never be as rich as Jeff Bezos. You're not born with the same start. You don't have the same gifts that he has, but you may have more, you may have less. But the only way you can measure yourself is what did you do with the gifts God gave you? That's the measure. And it doesn't measure against anybody else. It measures against your natural gifts that you have and what you did with that. And that's what we need to do is challenge people. Take your gifts and use them for the good of God and for the good of the whole. But there's principles we must hold together, Jesse, and they are the roots of Western civilization.
Amazing. I noticed that, I know that America is the greatest country in the world. It was founded and built by white men with the help of God. they were able to create the best country in the world. And I've noticed that white Western country, white people countries, are under attack. But it's interesting in that everybody and their mama want to go to white countries. And yet when they get there, they want to turn on it and destroy it. People like Ilhan Omar and Hake, what's that woman name?
Rashida
Tlaib, and they've allowed people to come into our country from the Allahu Akbar country, and they are chanting "Death to America" in America, on American soil, burning the American flag, saying "Death to America," "Death to Israel," America, big Satan, Israel, little Satan. I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with America that they would allow something like that to happen? And then in New York, the Democrats, according to a report, just elected a socialist Muslim to run for mayor representing the Democratic Party in America. What's wrong with America that we would allow something like this to happen on our soil?
Oh boy, this goes back a long ways back, Jesse, the late 1800s, when we had German leftists that came over here and began to start agitating, and it's been the socialist agenda has been just driving incrementally, ratcheting away our freedom, and we just haven't been strong enough and confident enough. And that's why I talk often about, as you actually alluded to it, is that the founders of this country and the framers of the Constitution understood these principles, the principles of American exceptionalism.
Yeah.
And that's almost all of them are in the Bill of Rights: freedom of speech, religion, press, the right to keep and bear arms, the right to assembly, jury trial. The powers not enumerated in the Constitution devolve to the states or the people respectively. That's just some of it. Also, the rule of law is a central pillar of American exceptionalism, not specified in the Bill of Rights, and free enterprise capitalism. If you understand how those pillars hold our country together, you would defend it. But instead, we're watching people they set pragmatism over principle. And when I get into a debate with even people that are working with me on some of these issues, some about, well, in my best judgment, I think we ought to let that principle go because in the long run, it might hurt us if something goes wrong. And you make my head explode.
Yeah.
Why are we on this team together if you're going to put pragmatism over principle? If we sacrifice principle, we surrender to pragmatism, and that's what's been going on in this society. Principle has been surrendering to pragmatism and to leftism, that hates our culture. And I'm wondering why establishment Republicans would rather defeat conservatives than they would the left. And I have faced that too many times to think that it doesn't exist in a very strong way, Jesse.
Yeah. What a man. I used to, when they elected this guy in New York, and he's like outright socialist. I mean, he let it be known, and he's not hiding it. And he said recently, according to a report, he's going to tax something like the white areas, white communities, and things like that. This guy is like really open about what he's going to do. And the people in New York voted for him anyway. And they were saying that white educated women are his primary supporters. What happened to the white woman that she lost her mind like that?
Oh boy. I don't know how it is white women can support, especially a Muslim for that matter, or any woman for that matter. I mean, women are suppressed under that society, and they get the license in the Quran to beat their wives. And I went in and visited a mosque in Dearborn, and the imam's wife was there to guide me, and she had 3 other wives to share her husband with, and she told me she was glad because when he travels around the country, she knows that he's with another one of his wives rather than some random woman that might give him some sexually transmitted disease. And I go, no way I sell that to my wife. So it's an anti-woman operation going on around the Muslim world. And we should never apologize for being white. That's how God made us. That's actually, you could argue that it's a sin to apologize for the way God made you.
Right.
But I can tell you where this goes. And in fact, just yesterday, I worked on this issue and cut some tapes to go into Europe. And we'd be happy to learn this, Jesse. On the 4th of July in Belgium, they're having a garden party there to celebrate 4th of July Independence Day. There'll be American flags all over the place.
Right
My
on.
video will be played there. I've been to the 4th of July celebrations in the Netherlands and also in Athens. So they do celebrate our 4th of July, sometimes U.S. Embassy, but this is a group of legislators, members of parliament in Belgium. And so
Right
they're
on.
calling it not only Independence Day, but they're calling it Western Civilization Day.
Right
They
on.
understand they have to defend Western civilization, and they see us, as I described us, as the flagship of the fleet of Western civilization. I also cut a tape for a Vienna meeting that's going to take place later in July that's about Western civilization also. And I'm promoting the idea of establishing an international organization to restore Western civilization for the world. And if we can do that and spread the knowledge base, then throughout the universities, for example, then we can get confidence back in who we are and build again on the foundational principles that have made us the greatest nation in the world.
Nice. Congratulations. I was wondering, I noticed that the black woman lost her way when black men became weak. When the fathers were not leading the wives in the homes, they let the mothers take over and run the homes, and then they allowed these women to go out and be educated and all that kind of stuff. And so the black man is not leading the black woman, so she's totally out of control. Is that what happened, or is happening, or has happened to the white woman? Because the white man is weak, the women are going out of control.
Well, Jesse, I think it's the ghost of Gloria Steinem and Betty Friedan and Helen Reddy that live in a lot of our houses here. I mean, they push this feminism through
Yeah.
so hard that I sometimes have to be cautious about what I might ask of my wife. And I tell her, "Oh, it's the ghost of Betty Friedan coming out in you again."
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
we should have the relationships between us somewhat compatible in a way, so we do that which best makes the relationship and the family work. If she has a skill set that's better than mine, she ought to just use that. And I have skill sets that I know that she defers to me on. So there's men's work and women's work, but it changes from household to household. That's a lot of what happened. The feminist movement that was driven at us. Um, it just makes me think about Jeanette Rankin. She was the first woman elected to a federal office, 1916, out of Montana. And she got there in time to vote against the declaration of war against Germany. I think she was the only Republican that did, although that was her. She lost the next election in a great big way because she did not support the war effort. Well, she went home for 20 years and was elected back to Congress in 1940. Let's see, it'd be 1940. And there she was there just in time to be the only one to vote against the declaration of war against Japan, which cost her the next election. So she was the first. She was the first woman elected to Congress, and I was thinking she didn't cut a very good path for the rest of the women, by the way, because she was bounced out twice, 20 years apart. Now, if Jackie Robinson had been a klutz and could never steal second base, the crack into the Major League Baseball for blacks in America would have taken a lot longer. He didn't set people back. He raised
Yeah.
the issue up. So I'm really proud of Jackie Robinson, and I'm not that impressed with Jeanette Rankin.
That's amazing. Another question, because we're running out of time here, because of time. I just heard a report that I guess Apple or someone has this app, a new app that would alert. You know how Donald Trump is out there arresting the illegal aliens and sending them back to the country. Apparently, they have created an app that will alert the areas, wherever area they're working in, that they're coming for them. What do you think about that? Did you hear
I
about
think it's
that?
I think it's a great idea to hack the app and spook people all over America all the time.
Yeah.
That's what they deserve, and people that are subverting the law. It's against federal law to aid and abet a criminal alien,
Yeah.
and yet we haven't prosecuted people for that in any significant way. And well, Merrick Garland ought to be one of the people on that list. He's been aiding and abetting criminal aliens for for all the time that he has been in federal office. But so we have not only turned a blind eye, they have been protected by the left. And we should remember also that there's forces out there that want to break down and destroy the American civilization, the American culture. And George Soros isn't the only demon of this. There are a good number of others. But when they stimulate this unrest, this is not something that happens spontaneously. The attacks on me were not spontaneous either.
Right.
These were orchestrated, strategized, and funded attacks. The million women in those pink hats, pink caps, I guess you call them, that they knitted, that came there to protest Donald Trump's first inauguration were funded. I talked to women that complained to me that they couldn't pay their Obamacare premiums, but they flew in from Arizona to protest. I said, where did you get the money for that? Well, somebody else bought me a ticket. Who did that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Now they're funding this unrest. They funded it, the unrest in Charleston when we had the big mess down there a number of years ago, and in the streets across this country today, no more kings. Well, no more kings. Well, a week ago, last Saturday, on the first No More Kings Day, I guess it was the second No More Kings Day, I joined about 25 others of my family, all in white king t-shirts, to go through the parade that day because my nephew's running for the State House, and we decided it was going to be the More Kings Day, not the No More Kings Day.
That's right. It's so amazing to me that they call him king. That is mind-blowing. I like that, though, they call Donald Trump king. I got to ask, and then we got to run here because of time, should the government... Oh, we need a T-shirt that says, Representative Steve King is king.
Well, the first place that would be disputed would be in my own household. But I could have a little fun wearing that T-shirt around, Jesse.
That's right. So, last question. Should the government control AI even more
I'd
so?
say no. I would have opposed that legislation that wants to limit the states from regulating AI for a 10-year period of time. When you've got innovation like that, let it rip. We have to be responsible for how we deal with things, and we have to get informed. Now, there's this thing coming at us called the singularity, which says that there will be a day, maybe today, some say 20 years, when there's such a blend of AI and human thought that you won't be able to know the difference. Some of that exists today, I know. We will get there, but our discretion needs to be, was that AI or was that human? And by the way, do I want to let some AI control my thoughts? I went through a debate with Grok this morning just for fun, and I think it's a good exercise because it tells me how AI thinks, and it helps me work with it. I would say that I was supporting Vivek Ramaswamy for president here in Iowa, and did that because I couldn't get Donald Trump to answer the question on this property rights issue I mentioned earlier.
Right.
But one of the people working with us sent out a video that showed Vivek Ramaswamy saying the same things right behind Barack Obama, as if they were driving the same ideology. I looked at that and I said, that's AI, you've been duped.
Yeah.
But we have to learn to make those calls. I'd say let's learn a lot with this. It saves a lot of time to have AI. You can do things that you never had time to do before, but you still have to have your own judgment, your own discretion, and your own life experiences.
Oh, amazing. Tell the folks how to get your book to your website. This has been an amazing conversation. How can they get your book and everything?
Just go to steveking.com and just click on the button there, and I'll get an email that says ship you a book, and I'll autograph that book to you, and ship it off within a day or two, depending here where. So it's just steveking.com. Walking Through the Fire: My Fight for the Heart and Soul of America, and we've got a little more story to tell yet. I'm not backing off. I'm going to stay active and busy. We're going to defend the God and country, the Constitution, and restore Western civilization. If the Lord gives me enough breath to keep trying, I'll do that to the last breath, Jesse.
Happy White History Month, and thank you so much for coming on. It's amazing. Good talking to you.
Thank you, Jesse. I sure appreciate the honor being with you this morning.
Thank you. Amazing. I got to take a break. Back to your calls here in a moment. Hate news, not the fake news. Turn to God. No man or woman can return to God unless you go through the Son. And men are sons of God. There may be weak, pathetic examples of it, but it's the spiritual order of life. God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children. So get from race to responsibility. I write about that. Go to my website, rebuildingtheman.com, for an autographed copy, or call 800-411-BOND and donate to my nonprofit, Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. We are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man.
There's some serious mess going on in the world. A whole lot of mess in Turkey, in America, and in Israel and Gaza. This is the end of hour one of the Jesse Peterson Show. Happy White History Month. It is Tuesday, the 1st of July, Country and Western Tuesday, the 1st of July, AD 2025. There is one line open. You can call in right now, even during Hake News, not fake news. And JLP will be back, and he will get to your calls. We'll also get to your super chats. We see them. We appreciate them. And more great stories. But Commie Nonsense Network, CNN reports, Turkish police, by the way, it's White History Month, and the first Thursday of the month is this Thursday, July 3rd, and 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles, there will be a men's forum, guys. Rebuildingtheman.com/events. Rebuildingtheman.com/events. Make sure you do join us for men only. Women's forums are third Thursday of the month for ladies only. First Thursday for men only. Church on Sunday for everybody. Nice. But Commie Nonsense Network, CNN reports, Turkish police have detained 4 cartoonists for drawing a cartoon that was published in the political satire magazine Liman. Capital L, lowercase e, capital M, all one word, A-N. Liman. The image that the cartoon that they made appears to be a Muslim man and a Jewish man, both with wings and halos, shaking hands as bombs fall below them. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? They are one in heaven, or whatever. I don't know. Hundreds of protesters took to the streets, though, of Istanbul, not Constantinople, in Turkey, claiming that the cartoon was a depiction of the Prophet Muhammad and of Moses. Moses? Jewish? Was he from the tribe of Judah? I don't know. Anyway, some even kicked down the doors of the magazine's office. Wow. That seems like an overreaction, although Liman said the cartoon did not depict the Islamic prophet. They apologized to readers, cowards, who may have been offended. Well, what a mess. But they've been detained. 4 cartoonists been detained by the government. They got to clamp down. Maybe we should do that in America. Although I do support freedom of speech to a point, right? Anyway, censorship for Christ and America. Anyway, Trump, mega bill. The Senate spent all day. That's the big, beautiful bill, right? Or is it the big, bogus bill? The Senate spent all day and night in a marathon, they call it, voting session, votorama, on our greatest president, Donald J. Trump's sweeping domestic agenda bill. The votorama still ongoing this morning. It was still going on this morning, maybe to this moment, I don't know, has provided an opportunity for the Republicans or the Republicans to make adjustments to the package. And for the demon rats, I call them, Democrats, get it? To put the GOP on notice about certain aspects of the bill that are unpopular with voters, so they claim. Trump's so-called one big beautiful bill, I'll capitalize each first word, letter of the word, first letter of each word, would lower federal taxes and infuse more money into the Pentagon and border security agencies. It would also downsize so-called safety net programs, MAMA programs, such as Medicaid, food stamps, and according to the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, add nearly $3.3 trillion to the deficit. Not to be trusted, right? The CBO. Over a decade, our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, he wants to sign the bill by the 4th of July, but he still needs to receive approval from the Senate before passing through the House again. Wow. Anyway, Monday was another deadly day in Gaza with the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. 41 people killed, 75 others injured when an Israeli airstrike hit a seaside cafe in Gaza City. Wow. What a mess. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP. Hour 2.
Got to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the second hour of the show today. You can get involved by calling 888-77-53773. 888-77-JESSE. And my brand new biblical question, what are you a tumbleweed? Are you a tumbleweed? Amazing question. Are you a tumbleweed? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show, jesseleepeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about doing whatever you're doing, and you just can't sit and watch the show, but you want to listen while it's happening, you can. You can podcast, but you can be listening on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App or buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. All right. Is Tuesday. And every Tuesday is Country and Western Tuesday.
It's white history month. I'm gonna celebrate with my friends. It's white history month. So be sure to tell everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate. This one's gonna be White History Month. Happy White History Month. This is our 8th anniversary celebration of White History Month. Amazing. Happy White History Month, world. Making America great again. And so we started White History Month 7 years ago. Today is 8 years ago. Because we got to remember white history. We got to remember American history. Because the enemies of America are working overtime to erase everything that's good about America. And you know, and I know, your mama knows, and everybody knows,
If it wasn't for white people, there would be no America. If it wasn't for white people, there would be no America. And it's so interesting in that everybody and they mama, if you're black, and everybody and their mama want to come to America. And when they get here, they bring the same old mess that they ran from or left to America. They have this Allahu Abba guy over there in read a note Hake give me. I don't know what he's saying here. If it
Did you say if it wasn't?
I don't know what he's saying.
I think he's saying if it weren't for white people, there would be no America.
Oh, that's what he said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What the? Where was I? Oh, there's this Allahu Abba guy over in New York, and he is a Muslim Allahu Abba guy. Or he looked like one. And the Democrats, according to the report, have elected this guy to run for mayor representing the Democratic Party. And this guy is a Allahu Abba socialist to the core. And he's going to, if he wins, God forbid, he's going to change New York into an Allahu Abba country. He's going to change it. And the white women, according to the report, supported it. The so-called educated women. Look how dumb they are. I told you educated people are dumb. And I can't believe that they can't see that. You're going to elect a Muslim to run your city, your state, your country, and they're going to turn it into what the hell that they left. And you're going to be on the run. And you vote for them. So we got to remind the people. I remember when they had that insurrection on America, that riot, burning down America with that radical, far-left, fat, black lesbians, Black Lives Matter. They destroyed statues and monuments and flags and everything. Every attempt to destroy America. Somehow or another, we got to say something or do something to try to prevent that from happening, even though it's way down the road of destruction already. And so July is White History Month for that purpose, to remind the generation past and the generation to come what a great country this was at one time. And to stand up and speak up and have no fear. Drop the fear. America is, or at least it was, the greatest country on this side of heaven. And you're losing that. And there's nowhere else to go. I know Elon Musk is building some rocket ship to outer space. And I know that a lot of white people are going to be moving up there. I am too. I'm going to save my money so I can move up there, buy some land right away before the prices go up. The land prices go up. And so white people try to escape into outer space somewhere. But if you don't have the courage to run it down here, what makes you think you're going to have the courage to run it over there? Fear is everywhere. When you have fear, you have fear. But happy White History Month. July just feels white. Summer, 4th of July, reflection, appreciation, rest time. Everything's good about July. Amazing. Let me go to Harold out of North Carolina. Harold, you're on the air.
How are you, sir? I believe if it was up to me, I would get rid of all immigration to this country. It seems like the people that come here who are the biggest problems come from countries where there were major problems.
That's
and they
right.
come here and they kicking and screaming about America. First of all, I would ask them, why are you here if America is such a bad place? Why are you here? That genius in New York City who's being courting Al Sharpton, another race hustler, calling out Sharpton for the black vote. And black people, first of all, my people, and I just happen to be a black man, but I'm an American first. My people haven't gotten this right in 70 years. At one point, we determined who went to the White House and who didn't go to the White House. And what do? We let all of these people in here, and now black folks are the number 3 minority in this country, and statistics state by 2040 will be number 4. Asians will be number 3. And we didn't do anything when we had the number 2 spot. We kept electing all of these losers. You notice you haven't heard a peep from the Black Congressional Caucus about the 14th Amendment. You notice you haven't heard a peep from them about birthright citizenship. And we got rid of all the people that don't belong. That can't. First of all, how do you give somebody legal status who broke into your country? That to me is amazing. I break the law and you reward me with a citizenship.
Amazing. Well, it's a mess, man, and that's why every day here on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, we try to encourage people to wake up so that they can see what's going on for themselves. And once the people wake up and they can see for themselves, then things will change. But it's difficult because most people don't want to wake up.
Mr. Peterson, how long does it take to wake up? I'm 70 years old. I saw this 50 years ago.
Amazing.
How long does it take for you to figure this out?
Yeah.
It's not that hard. It's not that difficult to figure out. We are being displaced, have been displaced by foreigners. And it's that simple. If you come here and you give them A to Z because they left a country where you couldn't get any social benefits, you come here, you give them the world. Like that clown in New York, he wants free buses, free child care, free this, free that. Who you think gonna pay for that?
Yeah, everything free, and the taxpayer are gonna pay, and New York will suffer for that. I'm believing that maybe this guy won't get in, even though they have voted him to run against a Republican, I guess, or whomever.
Well, he's going to be the independent. I mean, he's going to be the Democratic line. But you got Cuomo who didn't do well. Eric Adams is a joke, and Sliwa, come on, a Republican in New York City. I don't understand how people, because I got the same problem in North Carolina. We got people moving here from New York and New Jersey, and guess what they do when they get here, Mr. Peterson? They vote the same way they did when they left.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They come down here with the same nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to leave New York because of the taxes, and then come down here and want to give the house away to everybody.
Yeah, that's happening to Texas too. You have a lot of people move from California to Texas, and when they get to Texas, they vote the same old kind of people in, and they create the same environment around them. It's crazy. But
well, if it was up to me, sir, I would clean house. And I would shut down legal immigration right now. I would shut down illegal immigration right now. And all of these people that had these babies that just can't. No. The kid's not a citizen. If one of your parents is not an American citizen, the kid ain't a citizen. And revoke that status, because the bottom line is, my people, your people, were enslaved for 250 years. We worked for 250 years for free, and another 100 years under Jim Crow, until another ethnic group comes here and puts in that kind of work. I don't want to hear nothing about you wanting to be a citizen.
There you go. Thank you, Harold.
We earned our citizenship.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right.
Amazing. Right on point. Right on point. Let me go to first time call out of Texas. EG, you are on the air.
Jesse, you're amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you for taking my call. Man, you was reading my mind. We really don't want the Californians coming down here and making Texas California. Man, you are so right on. And I got to tell you, Jesse, people are stupid. We already elected one Oot for for president. Why wouldn't those stupid people elect someone for the mayor?
Well, it's really interesting in how the people say that they run from one so-called one bad state to a so-called good state, and then when they get there, they create the same environment. It reminded me of that woman, Eliane Omar, whatever her name is, Eliane. and she is supposed to be a refugee, and they let her come to America. They bring her to America, and when she get here, she be a part of our government, which should never happen. And then she want to create. She hate America. She make it clear that she hate America, and there's no appreciation for the country that's supposed to have saved her from the hell that she's living in. It's mind blowing, EG.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what, JLP, I'm going to tell you what the truth is. The truth is in the Bible, and the truth tells us that the battle is in the heavenly realm, not in the earthly realm. This is a spiritual battle, JLP. You're a pastor. You know that. This is a spiritual battle. This is demonic. This is satanic. And this is what we fight against, my brother. And we just need to be in prayer constantly. And you know what I'm talking about, brother. I love you. Keep up the good work. You have a great day. Have a great White History Month.
Happy White History Month. Thank you, man. Amazing. 888-7753-773. Let me go to James out of San Francisco, California. James, you are on the air.
Hi, good morning, Jesse. How you doing?
All is well, James.
Jesse, I had a question about listening to the woman. So, I'm been a long time listener and supporter of a lot of things that you tell us and some of the wisdom and everything like that, and I appreciate it. My wife basically, she's a professional person. Like, she went to school, degrees, all that stuff, and she's doing really well for herself. I've helped her, support her through the years. But however, now I'm going into a job where I can actually, excuse me for being out of breath, I'm running around a little bit, but excuse me. So I end up getting an opportunity to have a job, a career that's more gives us more stability and everything like that. But she don't want me to take on the job. Now, I don't want to listen to the woman because there's a lot of emotions in it and everything like that. And she just refuses to hear me out for the career I'm trying to take on. Now, I'm going to go into law enforcement. I just want to ask you, what's your take on that? Because I'm listening to what God's telling me to do and not what she's telling me to do.
Why did you support her in being educated? Why did you go along with that?
At that time, I wasn't. I didn't see it at that time. I wasn't familiar with your you're doing. Some of your teachings, things like that. Some of these things that God put in us. It just wasn't there like that. I grew up in a typical, like every other black kid growing up. Most of the men listen to the women and not God and everything like that. So I just thought that was just the way.
Oh, I understand.
So I did what I had to do at that time to support her. So I was just work, and help her get in a position. So, because I thought that what I was supposed to have been doing as a man. But, now she's in position. She's like, oh, you don't have to work. You can just stay home. And I'm like, I can't do that. Right. I'm a working man. I like to work, and I like to be the protector and the leader of the household. So now, she wants to, yeah.
And what will happen when you go to work anyway? She gonna do what?
Well, I believe she's just gonna get over it. She normally she just gets over it.
Yeah.
She just gets over it. So I've taken a stand, Jessica. I told her already. I said, well, I know you're saying all this stuff, but I'm still going to pursue this because I know it's the right thing to do.
That's insane that she would say that to you, man. It's insane. She sees you as very weak. That's why she could even tell you that you can't take a job or you can't do this. She want you to stay home. You created a monster by allowing her to be educated. And because educated women do not make good wives and good mothers. And so you created a monster. I suggest, do you have children with her?
Yeah, we have a 15-year-old son.
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
Okay. Do what you want, but I suggest you go to work and don't overreact to her reaction to that. If she get mad, let her be mad. If she promised to leave, let her leave. You got to start standing up and become the light of the family. And you're not going to be the light as long as you have fear. And so you work on you, and whatever she does is on her. But because every time you listen to the woman, you will suffer. Look how you're suffering now. You went along with her being educated, getting the education, and now you're paying the price for that. So I would start working on myself and do what you see is best to do, and don't worry about what she does.
Understood. Yeah, that's what my heart was telling me, and I appreciate that, Jesse. And I have one more thing for Joe. You said what's wrong with the blacks. I do believe I know what's wrong with the blacks.
Are you black?
I am black.
You black? Go ahead.
I believe the wrong with the black is the same thing that's wrong with America right now. It's just we allow a lot of foolishness to take over. Yeah. And, all of the men who stood up or trying to stand up, we just vote them out, push them out, and we constantly just listen to the woman and validate all the foolishness, and that's what it is. We don't put God first, and we just allow that to go on. And anytime a man try to step up or be the man and be leadership, they just rule them out and make them look like they're an outcast.
Absolutely,
and I
man.
believe that's what's going on, and so. And I see it all the time, and I'm taking stands now, and I feel it the way some of those old men back in those days that worked with white men and different ones, the leaders, they all work together, and they just rule them out. They either call them Uncle Tom or they call them like mean.
Yeah.
They put these labels on them, and black people want to be like the white people. They want to have businesses and things like that, but they don't want to take the time out to listen to them or work with them.
Yeah.
They just want to ridicule them and bash them, and then they want forgiveness, but then they don't want to forgive. It's like contradictory.
Yeah, it's a mess. How old is your son?
He's 15.
How is he close to you?
Yes.
Oh, good. Because you don't want your son to see you being weak with this woman at all and being controlled by her, being angry or any of that. Because if whatever you're going through, if you're not dealing with it in a perfect way, he's going to end up dealing with women in the same way. And I'm glad that you're standing up so he can see his father standing up, and he would do the same thing.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, I've definitely taken a stand, and I've told him. I said, me and your mom, we go back and forth. I don't like her talking like that in front of you, so my job is to protect you from her and a lot of her emotions and things like that. And he knows that, and he said, "I know that. I appreciate you." And
right on.
So God is definitely shedding the light, and I appreciate you, Jesse, because if I wouldn't have listened to you a long time ago, I would have been led down the straight just like a lot of my other family members have. They all mama and no forgiveness. And so I appreciate you, Jesse, and thank you, too, for your advice.
Right on. I wish you well with your new career, and stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. It'll be fine.
All right. Thank you, Jesse, and God bless you and your team there.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. 888-775-3773. Super chat. Super
chats. Over on pilled.net/Jesse Lee Peterson. Shout out. Pastor Shadowley, Pastor Shadowley gifted the can Amazing Church.
Amazing. Fellowship is amazing. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Check it out.
Very nice. Jesse comments on the D.C. bombing, asks Tucker over on X Live yesterday.
What's the D.C. bombing?
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with the D.C. bombing.
Yeah.
Make it clear. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Rolando said, "Good evening, folks. First time at JLP Church." Oh, that was during church.
Right on.
Very
amazing. Nice. Amazing fellowship. Thank you.
Chow Yun Cat said, "Then we will no longer be infants, tossed back and forth by the waves and blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by cunning and craftiness of people in their deceitful scheming." Ephesians 4:14.
Bible Thumper Thursday. Thank you. Amazing.
Cesar Caesar Mark 85 scared me last week. Glad you are okay.
Appreciate it. I have gotten so much advice and help from that. It's amazing. Thank you.
Pastor Chatelet on Church Rumble stream. Endure till the end. Smigas. Big smile.
If you want the prize, you got to go all the way with this. Really. You got to go all the way through hell to get to heaven. Amazing. Thank you.
And shout out to Misty for the ice cream during church.
Right on.
And D-Live.
Shout out. Thank you, Misty.
3 coffees from Nikki. James, no need to read my last coffee. I thought the one before got skipped. Thanks. Bye. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Lori bought a coffee. Biblical question answer.
Are you a tumbleweed?
Yes, I am a tumbleweed because I still get controlled by the wind, but at least I can see it. Church was interesting. Thanks.
Right on. Thank you. Stay with us, stay with us, stay with us. And I'll respond to the biblical question on Sunday. Thank you.
Hi, Jesse, says Soterios. Thank you for all you do. Been sitting with fear and taking it as good as I can like you teach. But I was sick a lot lately, and my body's been so tense from being in my thoughts with my fears that I ended up with tinnitus, constant ringing in my ears. It's been really challenging, and the fears have come like never before. What can I do to let go truly and heal, even though my body is already reacting? God bless you.
Thank you. And for medical, I can't give you medical advice, but what I can tell you, relax. The most powerful power on this side of heaven is non-reaction. Do not react. You're not your body, so whatever's going on in your body, again, I'm not giving you medical advice, but don't overreact to that either. If you need to see a doctor, see a doctor, but don't overreact. You are not your body. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not your body. So relax. Don't overreact to that. And as far as fear is an illusion. I promise you, fear is not real. It's not real at all. It's an illusion. And unfortunately, most people believe that fear is real. And so fear controls them and they cannot live their lives. Isn't that amazing? So fear is not real. Watch it. Don't do anything about it. It'll pass. And the same with the thoughts and emotions. Just become aware. Stay present. And you'll be fine. Whatever meant to be will be. Let God's will be done and not yours. And you'll be fine. But I can't give you medical advice. I wish you well. Amazing.
Evil is still real with a correction on my pronunciation. It's tinnitus, not tinnitus, moron. Oh.
Amazing.
Thanks,
Thank
man. T. Smith with a coffee.
What were you saying about if it wasn't for white people?
Thank you for asking. I was hoping you would ask.
Ask.
The phrase is, if it weren't for white people, there would be no America. Because you're speaking in the subjunctive mood, in the subjunctive form, which is imaginary scenarios, in which you have to say, if it weren't. It's a hypothetical, not if it wasn't.
Weren't.
If it weren't for white people.
Oh.
It's not if it wasn't for white people.
Thank you.
That's the subjunctive mood.
There you go. I appreciate it. Amazing.
Here's your little grammar sentence structure thing. And I just know that it's right. I don't know why. Anyway, thank you. T. Smith with a coffee and a heart. Thank you, T. Smith, over on Cash App. Bond JLP on Cash App.
Right on. Thank you. Amazing.
Chris R., now a member over on the Jesse Lee Peterson channel. Thank you, sir.
Right on. Thank you.
Uncle Ruckus, yesterday, man in Idaho set a fire to kill firefighters. 2 dead. He got trapped in the fire, says Uncle Ruckus. And, yeah, we reported on that, right? But
we haven't yet.
Oh.
But I was talking to my producer about that this morning. And according to a report, this guy set a fire. And then they called the fire department to come put it out. And when they came, according to the story, he ambushed them. He shot 3 and 2 died, I believe. Unless another one died, a third one died.
And
then they said he's dead. He was shot too, but they don't know if he self-inflicted or was shot by a gun by police or somebody.
Okay.
I don't know the real story on that, but thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah.
We'll have to read the rest of these later, guys.
Amazing. Let me take a quick break. Back in a moment. Check out Punchy's Coffee. I have my own coffee now. Punchy Coffee is good. Every bag is roasted to order. Freshest flavor. Top quality. Specialty grade beans. Good. Every dime goes back to Bond, my nonprofit. And we are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. So when you're drinking coffee and enjoying it, just know you're helping somebody. Amazing coffee. Punchy has his own coffee now. What the? And it's so good. All the way from the plantation to my own coffee. Who would have thought? Did that coffee come from the plantation? Did I pick my own coffee? Check it out. Go to rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com/stores, and get Punchy's Coffee. Okay, welcome back. Happy White History Month. July is White History 8th year. This is of celebrating white history. Couple announcement. The Hake Report is coming up at 9 a.m. this morning. The Hake, Hake report.com. TheHakeReport.com from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then after the Hake Report, the American Anchor Baby at 11 a.m. Energy given to him by God. And he's on fire. At 11 a.m. from 11 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. And then we have a fundraising going. I need your support to carry us through the summer because people going on vacation. Donations are low. We got to pay the bills even when you're gone. So I'm asking you to help us to raise at least $50,000 more. That'll be nice, but at least $50,000. Kind of take us through the summer until y'all come back. All right? So give whatever you can, and I do appreciate it. And I know a lot of you are already doing it to help us to help other people. If you put a little extra in just to get us through the summer, go to rebuildingtheman.com. rebuildingtheman.com /donate or call 800-411-2663, 800-411-BOND, BOND. All right, and I do appreciate it. You can mail it as well. If you're from the old school, you'd rather mail it in, make them check or money out to Bond, money order out to Bond, BOND, or call and send it to, mail it to P.O. Box 35090, LA, California, 90035. P.O. Box 35090, LA, California, 90035. All right. I do appreciate it. I want to play this soundbite for you to show you another example of the human nature going wild, gone bad. Human nature is evil. It really is. That's why the Father said, I will give you a new nature. Anyone, I don't care who you are, where you are, anyone that has anger is of their father, evil. You're one with evil. You have agreed to be evil. And so you need a brand new nature, and you can. I had heard this before when I was younger, that if you didn't have physical laws, that human being would go totally out of control because they are not governed by the spiritual laws within. And if you're not governed by the spiritual laws within, and you need the physical laws to contain you, otherwise you will go out of control. And so what happened in my country, they took away the physical laws. No bail bonds, no police. You can just do what you want, rob, steal, and kill, and rape, and do everything, no problem. And society is going out of control, and it's getting worse. Here's an example from KTLA 5. A chaotic vehicle theft gone wrong unfolded in a flash on Sunday morning. The loud scene waking up some Sherman Oaks resident and totaling at least one uninvolved parked car. So watch this for yourself from KTLA 5. Watch this.
Hey, Kareem. This is one of those unbelievable stories. A runaway tow truck leaves behind a trail of destruction driving through this neighborhood in Sherman Oaks. You can still see some of the damage left to that power pole. Apparently, the tow truck driver was stealing the pickup that was on its flatbed, but it wasn't properly secured as he started driving away. The video, it's gnarly, it's dramatic. There you have it, a wild scene in the 13,000 block of Compton Street just after 8:30 this morning. A speeding driver in a red and black tow truck loses control after careening around the corner with a stolen gray pickup truck swinging off the bed. The rear of the pickup slides off the bed, slamming into a white pickup that was parked on the street. The suspect then continues to drive, crashing the still attached stolen pickup into a wooden power pole. That's when the pickup comes off the suspect's tow truck bed. The crash was caught from multiple angles, including dash cam from a neighbor's vehicle. The series of loud bangs woke up residents on the block, including the homeowners whose parked white pickup was totaled.
Amazing, huh? Amazing. So what you don't know, if you don't live in California, you might not be aware of this, may not be aware, is that Sherman Oaks at one time was an amazing place to live. And a lot of people, some people moved from LA out to the valley there to Sherman Oaks because it was a very nice place to live at one point. Now that they have taken away the police and bail bonds, and they allow all these people to come in from around the world, God knows who they are. It's going out of control now. And so it's being reported that this guy took this tow truck, went to these people's house to try to steal the truck. And I saw the report on the local news here, and they were interviewing the guy that lives in the home that owned the truck. And he said something like, I don't have the exact words, that this whomever driving the truck rang the doorbell and nobody answered. So the guy thought no one was home, according to the report. And then he loaded the truck on the tow truck, and the guy heard his truck being loaded, so he ran out of his home to stop it, and that's when the guy took off with the truck, on the tow truck. And you saw the result of that. Broad daylight, no police around. And then they tell you can't have the Second Amendment to protect yourself. And it's being reported that the thief has remained at large. They have not caught him yet. No police. Defund the police. Y'all listen to Black Lives Matter, a group of evil, sleep-lost folks tell you to defund the police brutality. They made up lies about the police, and you defunded the police, and look what you're getting. Look what you're getting. That is an amazing story. It's mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. I want to go to first-time caller out of California. Dorian, I believe. Dorian out of California. Dorian, you're on the air.
How's it going, Jesse? Yeah, it's Dorian.
Hey, Dorian.
Happy White History Month, Jesse.
Happy White History Month. Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah, Jesse, I wanted to see if you could clarify something for me. I came across one of your clips. I watched a lot of your content, and you were speaking about the voice of God. It's a silent voice.
Yes.
And you know, obviously, I was going through the comments, and a lot of people were, you know, they were getting into debates in there because, you know, there is scripture, and you know, they say, you know, my sheep will hear my voice, you know?
Yes.
So I was just trying to get some clarification on how is it that you came to that conclusion of it being a silent voice? Because if not, like, I got this voice in my head like 24/7. Just I might need an exorcism or something.
The voice in your head is the voice of evil. It's not you. It's not the voice of God. It's the voice of evil. And that's why you feel like you may need an exorcism or something like that, because that's evil, and God, and it's pretending to be the voice of God, but it's not. And it's just a bunch of evil noise happening to you. So I want to encourage you to be aware of that. Don't call it you. Stop identifying with it, and the Spirit of the Father would take that away from you. Those spirits out of your mind and give you a clear mind. The voice of God is a voiceless voice. It's He reveals to you. He allows you to see. It just makes sense. Like He revealed to you as Satan talked to you.
Okay, gotcha.
His voice is a voiceless voice. I believe it even says that in the Bible that His voice is a voiceless voice. Those voices in your head are not from God at all.
Gotcha. And real quick, Jesse, so essentially, like, that voice in my head has been telling me to fast. So is the devil just trying to whoop on me right now?
Yes.
Because I've been having a little bit of trouble, like, struggling, like, to eat lately, because I've been just kind of, a lot of stuff has been going on. So that's kind of, when I heard that clip, that kind of got me kind of like all over the place. So I'm like, so is the devil trying to, you know, convince me to fast right now for no reason? And then, because I was even questioning if my heart was even in the, you know, my true intentions, you know, to fast.
The problem with mankind, men and women, is that they won't stop thinking. As long as they're thinking, they will never know God. They'll know about Him, they'll read about Him, they will hear about Him, but they will never know Him because they keep thinking, and they go from one thought to another thought to another thought. And that's why they cannot recognize the voice of God, because they're constantly thinking, and all thoughts set you up for destruction. They always encourage you to make the wrong decision while pretending to encourage you to make the right decision. And so if those voices are telling you to fast, I wouldn't do it. I recommend I wouldn't do it, but it's up to you, of course. But if they're telling you to do it, don't do it. Why are you having problem? You say you're having problem eating?
Yeah, it's just been, you know, life's been a little bit hectic, and then
in what way?
I have recently lost my job because, you know, some haterish people, you know, trying to just, you know, I would just be going to work, minding my business, and then, you know, they accused me of stealing something that I didn't steal. And then when I try to get my boss, to intervene, they're in the car always smoking weed together. They're buddies. So, it didn't really go well for me when I had to, take it to the higher ups. I ended up getting canned.
So you couldn't prove that you didn't steal anything?
Well, before because I went to HR myself, and essentially what I took to HR was because that guy that was really buddy with my boss, he bought him a cologne bottle, and then honest to God, I didn't even steal it. And there's cameras all over this place too, so it'd be kind of you had to be a moron to steal anything in there. So he accused me for it, and then this is previously he had tried to act like he was gonna find me for some reason, emotional person, right?
Are you working on yourself?
Yeah, I mean, as of late, I'm not gonna lie, it was. I was kind of questioning everything. I was kind of questioning where I was at, and then because I'm not gonna lie, Jesse. I had a real tough childhood, and like my dad was an alcoholic woman beater. My brother is a pedophile, and then my mom is a super woman where she can't take any accountability. So I was, I got.
How old are you?
They made me believe. I'm 28, but
and so why
they made me believe.
They made you believe what?
They made me believe that I was crazy, so I was essentially medicated for 7 years. I was, like these crazy liberal women, and I got out of that recently because I'm like, this is, I'm just falling into their, big pharma's plan for me to just be taking these drugs that don't do anything for me.
Are you still taking the drugs?
No, I got off of that, I had a period before that I tried to get off of the medication, and I couldn't think, it just was terrible. I was just having extreme anxiety, depression. I couldn't function properly. But now that I got off of it, I was doing really well. And then, life started happening. And then I'm just kind of like, you get down in the rut a little bit because I essentially would have had a job 2 days after, within a week after that happened to me. And that company got put on hold. They weren't able to hire anybody. So then, everything started to go wrong. So
why don't you drop your anger?
Yeah, that's something that I struggle with.
Why don't you drop it?
It's kind of like that. I don't know if you've seen that Spider-Man movie with Venom. It's kind of like attached to you.
It is attached to you, and anger is attached to every human being, and anger does not want to let go of that attachment. But why don't you drop it?
I feel like, honestly, as of late, I've been so down, and I've just been more or less. I've been just looking for God more than anything. And then I listen, to the way you speak about God, and I really love the work that you're doing. And honestly, I had before, I even saw one of your clips. I wasn't talking to my mom for 2 months, and we actually lived together. So actually, been speaking to my mom.
You live with your mama?
Yeah, man.
At 28?
Yeah. I'm down bad, Jesse.
What?
I'm down bad, as the kids would say it.
Why don't you forgive her for what she's done to you?
I forgive her because I know you said that she didn't know any better, and I know she hates her mother.
And
I can see it, Hell yeah.
And so why haven't you gone to her and forgiven her for what she's done to you?
I did. I've explained it to her.
What did you say to her?
I essentially told her that, I know that having anger towards you, essentially won't do anything for me because it trickles down from generation to generation, essentially. Because I was like, I see how you feel about your mother, the way you speak about her. You say she's bossy, this and that. All these little remarks. She even told me she's not a good, she's not that nice of a person. I used to think my grandma was amazing, right? But I told her, I didn't ask you, essentially I didn't ask for you to be my mother, and clearly you didn't ask for your mom to be your mom. So, it all got passed down the way she got treated by her,
why have, because of time, why didn't you forgive her, though?
I would say because I felt like I got thrusted into an almost, a crazy situation, Jesse. I feel
Why
like
don't you forgive? Why didn't you forgive your mother for what she's done? Why have you done?
I feel like I have, but it's
Did
just
you tell
you
her
know
that?
you go through. Yeah.
You told her you were sorry for resenting her for what she'd done to you?
I know, not exactly. I feel like me talking to her is,
Why? How are you going to be free of your misery, your hell, if you don't forgive her for what she's done to you? You're tiptoeing around it, but you won't go and deal with it. How will you ever be free of your misery?
Yeah, I won't be until I think you're right. I haven't really thought about it.
That
like
was
that.
a question.
I have. I won't. I won't be free.
Do you love your misery?
No.
Then why don't you forgive her so you can drop it?
Yeah, I will. I will definitely forgive her so I could just move on already. And
why
just
have
be
you?
at perfect
You've heard
peace.
me say, every man and every woman on this side of the heaven, if they want to be free, they got to forgive their mother so they can overcome her nature. You've heard that, and forgive the father. When you ask for not protecting them from the mother, when you ask us, your father, why did he protect you from your mother? What did he say?
I don't talk to my dad for many years, and then.
And why not?
My brothers are, essentially, I turned into the demon that he wanted, me to become. Essentially, at 14, I had to beat my dad up because at like 9 years old, I seen my dad rip the hair off of my mother's head for no good reason.
So why did you have to beat him up for that? He did. That was between your mother and your father. Had nothing to do with you. Why did you have to beat him up?
Oh, I didn't beat him up. I beat him up because he broke my Xbox. He was tripping, Jesse. He was drunk.
But why do you resent your father?
Why do I resent him? Because he was weak. Because he's a bum alcoholic.
But look at you. Do you resent yourself for being weak?
Yeah, most definitely. But I feel like if I had
what gives you the right to judge your father like that?
I feel like his decision is directly affecting me, I would say.
No, it's not. You're a grown man. It's on you now. Why? And until you forgive him, you're never going to be free. You're going to suffer as long, especially with your father. You would never know God because you hate your earthly father. No human being, man or woman, will ever know God as long as they hate their fathers.
Gotcha.
Why don't you forget? You're not working on yourself, man.
I mean, he blocked me, Jesse. He's beta. He blocked me.
You're never going to be free until you forgive your mother and your father. You're just going to be a victim for the rest of your life.
That's true.
So why don't you work on yourself, be serious about it, and go and forgive your mother and don't play a game with it, and forgive your father because they have the same problem you're having. They're lost in anger, they're asleep, and they're having the same problem. And do what you want. But I recommend if you want to be free, you got to stop playing a game with your life because you're letting the devil destroy you.
Gotcha, Jesse.
I wish you well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. I got to take a break. When I come back, your calls and super chat. 1 more hour to go. Hate news, and not the fake news, but the hate news coming right now. It's amazing that White History Month started this year on country and western. Oh my God. It doesn't get any better than that. Quick break. Back in a moment.
I'm 32 years old now, and I've been clinically depressed since I was 17 years old, and ever since I started listening to you a couple of months ago, bro, I don't even need to hear the word depression. I don't even care about that because that's not anything that I identify with anymore.
Nice.
I'm 100% cured. I'm 100% better because I've been listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson show And I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate you. And I just can't even, begin to tell you how much I really appreciate the things that you're doing for young men. Young men need to hear this, and young men need to know this message that you're delivering because it's important. It's vital to their lives, Jesse. I just wanted to let you know that, man.
That's amazing. I mean, you made my day, man. When I hear one soul has returned to the Father, it's like 1,000. It's better than silver and gold. So God bless you, man.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 2 already of the first day of White History Month. It is the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, Tuesday, Country and Western Tuesday, the 1st of July, July 1st, 2025 AD. The lines are full. You can call in, though, every so often, just in case a line opens up. Even during Hake News, not fake news, because who knows? Maybe somebody disconnects or whatever. They have to get to work or do something. So just call in every so often just in case a line opens up or as you hear JLP wrapping up with another caller. And if you're overseas and you have a good way that you like to call in, let us know how you do it because Skype has gone away. So it's not as easy and not as free, apparently, to call in from overseas. 1-888-775-3773. That is 888-77-JESSE. But Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, reports on that deadly day yesterday in Gaza with 41 dead at least and 75 injured or so when that Israeli airstrike hit the seaside cafe in Gaza City, Al-Baqa, A-L-B-A-Q-A, I guess, cafe. A popular spot for students, journalists, remote workers to hang out because it offered views of the beautiful Mediterranean Sea coast and internet access. Dr. Muhammad Abu Salmiya, director of the Al-Shifa Hospital, said that freelance journalist Ismail Abu Hattab, also among the dead. Rest in peace. The Israeli Defense Forces the IDF told Commie Nonsense the incident was under review. So they are self-policing. They're investigating to make sure that they went through the proper things. And if they didn't, somebody's going to get in trouble. Alligator Alcatraz. You heard of that yesterday on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show? Well, President Trump, our greatest, plans to fly to Florida today. If he hasn't already, maybe he has, I'm not sure, to visit the site of the state's forthcoming ICE detention center, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz, the temporary camp will soon house 5,000 illegals. They call them migrants, in tents on a little-used airstrip in the Everglades. Plans to build the facility have been met with fierce criticism from immigrant advocacy groups, Enemies of America, and environmental advocacy groups, many of whom took part in a protest over the weekend. You heard about that on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show yesterday. If you caught that podcast, jesseleepeterson.com/show, it's just not going to work, especially in the middle of summer in the Everglades, is a quote from Thomas Kennedy, a spokesman for the Florida Immigrant Coalition. Deport, deport, deport. Am I right? Anyway, it's actually quite cruel and inhumane, and I think it's designed that way, he said. Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, previously reported that fewer than 10% of illegals, they call them migrants, right, booked into ICE custody since October have been convicted of serious crimes like murder, assault, rape, or robbery. Oh, maybe we should wait until they do those things. Then we do something about them being here illegally, huh? More than 75% had no conviction other than an immigration, so nearly a quarter of them are criminals, other than an immigration or traffic-related offense. Several migrants have also died in ICE custody this year. Wow. It's unhealthy illegals. Maybe we need to keep them here. Not. The 2 firefighters fatally shot Sunday in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, somewhere, responding to a brush fire in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, been identified. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, age 42. Worked for the Kootenai, pardon me if I'm butchering the name, I butcher a lot of pronunciations. County Fire and rescue for 17 years. Battalion Chief John Morrison, age 52, served with the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department for more than 28 years. Dave Teisdahl, 47, an engineer with the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, also injured in that shooting. He's currently in critical condition after undergoing 2 surgeries. Evil, huh? Authorities confirmed the identity of the suspect, Wes Rowley, 20. He set the brush fire before opening fire. No criminal history, though. I'm James Hake, now back to JLP.
It's White History Month. I'm gonna celebrate with my friends. It's White History Month. So be sure to tell everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate. This month's gonna be White History. It's White History Month, and I'm gonna celebrate America. It's White History Month, and I'm gonna scream it to everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate. This month's gonna be White History.
Happy White History Month. July is White History Month. July just feels white. We are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man and uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. Well, also, you can get involved by calling 888-77-53773. 888-77-JESSE. JESSE. Jesse. Brand new biblical question, a doozy. And it's for those who truly want to overcome the fallen state, want to be free men and women. And you can be free right here on earth. You can have perfect peace in spite of what's going on around you. Really. You can have perfect peace. God did not give you a spirit of fear. Just knowing that alone should let you know, well, where did this fear come from? It's not from God, so where did it come from? And so the biblical questions are put out there to encourage you, those that want to overcome their fears and their thrills, is to encourage you to know thyself. Know yourself. 99.999. No. 99.999% of people do not know themselves. And that's a problem. They don't know themselves. They don't know that there's another reality. They don't know that there's another world. They don't know that there's another way of living. And they suffer. And they cry at night. And then they cry. Biblical question trying to encourage you to know yourself. Are you a tumbleweed? Are you a tumbleweed? Amazing question, huh? Are you a tumbleweed? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And if you can podcast all the shows if you are not able to just sit and watch it as it is happening. You can podcast. And you still can be listening on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App. I want to ask my experts about this. But first, happy White History Month, y'all. July is White History Month. We're celebrating July. So this month, I want to hear about your white heroes. Do you know that you're my heroes? Hero. You're everything I ever wanted to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you. Thank you. You are the wind beneath my wings. Who is your hero? From way back when the country first founded until this day, who have impressed you in a way you went, wow, that's amazing? I can tell you up front, the founders and the framers of America have impressed me. They have. They are my heroes. For those men, white men, to come into an empty place and create what they have done in America with the help of God, can't help but be heroes. Amazing, huh? It's absolutely amazing. And we'll continue watching. I have a lot you're going to hear as we move forward this month. But today I'm celebrating the founders of the greatest country on this side of heaven. The white men discovered and built a country that everybody and their mama want to go to, and yet they want to destroy it. What a sad way to live. But I'm grateful. Thank you all for the gift, using the gifts that God gave you to create America. I am not ungrateful about that. I'm grateful. All right. So my heroes. I also, when I had that little fallout at my knee, I fell out, fainted or whatever you want to call it, and it was amazing. As a result, I've been hearing, and thank you all for it, really, from people around the world, men and women, and they've been giving me amazing advice about how to be healthy, how to eat and drink, a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm grateful. Thank you. I had no idea that people were into health in the way that they are, and that a lot of people don't trust doctors. I don't trust doctors. I used to trust doctors. I don't anymore. These doctors are dumb. And so I've been getting all type of help. But I got to tell you, on Sunday, this past Sunday, Joseph and Aaron from Arizona brought me a basket load of amazing health stuff. And I've been trying it out already, and I can already see an improvement, really. And I want to thank them. Joseph and Aaron, thank you all from Arizona. They were at fellowship last Sunday. They came all the way up, not just to fellowship, but to bring that to me. Thank you. I do appreciate it very much. And they even wrote out how to use it, what it's for, and everything. Thank you. It's amazing. It's from everybody. Thank you. And stuff's still coming in, and I do appreciate it. I want to ask, and then I get back to your calls there. My expert, the American Anchor Baby, but the expert of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. American Anchor Baby is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. And then the Hake Report at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday to 11 a.m. James Hake is on fire, an expert here on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. And I think I may want to have my other expert come in. Derrick, come here for a minute, my producer. He didn't know I was going to ask this question. And I want to know what y'all think about this, too. I really, really do. And so the phone is ringing. Just hold on. You're on hold. Derrick will be back in a minute. You are on hold. Be patient. Derrick will be right back. My producer, he black. And an expert here on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. And he does not have a American White History shirt yet. Amazing. So I want to know what you guys think about this story. What do you get from it? And we're going to get to your calls. I see that you are on hold. Derrick is going to come back and answer the calls in a minute. But what do you all think about this? Now you can see Derrick.
Slouch down, Derrick. Be blacker. There you go.
Why else slouch it down?
So that we can be on the picture.
Okay. This story from X. Scott Adams, American author and cartoonist. And I've interviewed Scott. I have major respect for him. Scott Adams was planning an euthanization. Planned on euthanizing. Yeah. Scott says he was planning on euthanizing himself Sunday, but thanks to our hormone blockers, he is now pain-free. Watch his first soundbite from X.
By the way, if you haven't heard the update for my terminal cancer problem that was likely to end me this month, that's what I thought. You want to know a secret? Here's a little secret. In California, you have the right to end your own existence if you have a terminal illness and you get a couple of doctors to certify it and all that. And I was in that situation. Got 2 doctors to certify it. I've done the paperwork. But that was based on the fact that in the month of May, I was absolutely whacked with pain. I had pain like I've never felt before all over my body. And so I had sort of internally planned that I needed to get past my stepdaughter's wedding and reception to end my life. But what happened instead is that I started taking some hormone blockers. They block your testosterone, and the cancer needs the testosterone to eat. So completely surprising me, I didn't realize that that would also remove all of my pain. At the moment, my PSA levels have dropped 90% in just a few weeks. The number one indicator of how you're doing and how long you're going to last, if you have prostate cancer that's metastasized, as I do, that PSA number is like the big one. So it dropped 90%.
Amazing. I didn't know that cancer lives off of your testosterone.
Well, this one in particular, at least. I don't know about cancer in general.
Oh,
it may or may not.
That's amazing.
It does feed off of, I've heard it feeds off of sugar.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Mm-hmm. Inflammation.
Yeah.
Sugar causes inflammation, they say.
Also, I was told that doctors don't know what causes cancer, though. They don't know what causes it. They don't have the cause of cancer yet. Isn't it amazing?
I've heard people claim that everybody has cancer.
Right, but they don't know what cause. Well, I don't know about right, but
your body's always put it in a way.
What?
Somebody has said on this show, I don't know, somebody in the comments or calls or super chats has said that everybody has it, but
So
your
God
your body's always overcoming it.
So God created us with cancer.
Until your body can't.
So God put cancer in our body.
That's your words. That's your
No, that's my
assumption.
question.
I don't know.
Well, where did it come from? If we already have it, everybody got it.
Maybe
more like God.
the
Where
fall.
did it come from?
More like God gave us our body the ability to regenerate and make more of itself, but then the
cancer?
process. No. The God
Listen.
gave the body the ability to regenerate and make more of itself, but then somewhere along the way, the process to check that goes wrong.
Yeah, because that's what what cancer is. Your body making a bunch of something that is actually bad in this case.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's white blood cells.
Is it Nick saying?
Maybe. But
white blood cell?
Yeah, I think so.
In the case of blood cancer.
I think it's just from man putting its hands on things. I think cancer comes from artificial sweeteners and like man-made genetic foods and things
Kennedy
like that.
is taking out artificial coloring in food.
Right,
Y'all hear
that's
about
good.
that?
Yeah,
Boo.
I agree with that.
You said boo?
I like colored food.
But
For example,
it's
like
poison.
I know, but who
According to
wants to
reports.
eat meat that just looks gray?
Me.
Yeah, right.
I don't want the
Pause.
poison in my food just to make it pretty.
Yeah, I agree.
When we were growing up,
Pause. Yeah.
when we were growing up, they didn't put if the mother know how to cook the food gonna look good and smell good. You're gonna eat the food. They didn't put poison in food, color in food in the good old days.
It's non-toxic.
No, it's
No,
actually.
it's not.
Let's give you cancer.
Whatever. Anyway, move
Wouldn't
on.
like
Give
it
you
otherwise.
It might give you that.
It might give you cancer.
Yeah, you wouldn't even be appetized, right?
That's how the public is.
Adam said that even though his he has terminal cancer, he has never once woken up in a bad mood. Watching some ads.
So, do I feel like I'm on borrowed time? Got a little extra? Oh, hell, I do. Absolutely. And you know what? Harking back to our earlier conversation, even with terminal cancer that I thought was going to end me, within a few weeks, I still never woke up in a bad mood, not once. I just wake up feeling good, even with pain. I would still be in a good mood. I would just be in pain. Anyway, so that's the update. I don't know how long it'll last, but it would be within the realm of possibility that it could add a year or two, and maybe by then something else comes up. You never know. But the drug I'm on is known not to work long term. So it's usually 2 or 3 years, and then your body acclimates to the drug, and then it stops working. So I don't have a plan for after that, but at the moment, looks like I got some borrowed time.
Wow, amazing! I have interviewed this guy a couple of times, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. It was like amazing conversation. I wish him well.
Yeah,
I really do. What do you think about the fact, Derrick, that he considered taking his own life?
I hate to see it. I could see the pain in his face.
Euthanize. What do you call that?
Euthanize.
Euthanize. What do you think he considered that at one time? You think he hate to see it?
Yeah, I hate to see it. You can see the pain on his face, in his eyes, and as he speaks. I hate to see it. I can only imagine what it feels like to be in his body, but man, it's tough to see. I don't think killing yourself is ever the answer. I think seeking the truth, finding some other because I know there's healing elements out there, and I know this medicine it can't be the only answer. I'm pretty sure maybe, and a part of me is leaning on like a better diet, which could probably fix the situation. But I'm no medical professional, but I understand that if we get away from these modified foods, like these crazy artificial sweeteners, then a lot of the times the body just heals itself. God gives us, the ability for our bodies to naturally heal itself. So, I don't know what his diet is, but I hate to see it, but I don't ever think suicide is the answer. But, I'm wishing the best for him. Hopefully. And, you can't really trust the doctors. I'm not sure exactly what the doctors are doing. And I've heard you tell stories about doctors doing crazy things to individuals and putting them on prescription medication for like a while. So I don't know if this could be a case like that, but man, hopefully, he just keeps fighting and he'll find a way out for sure. I know God's not going to leave him. So, man, I wish the best. Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about what he said, Adam Scott said, about he had considered that he got 2 doctors to okay it and everything?
He had the drug on him. They had shipped it to him to drink.
I was stunned to hear this, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked to hear that he had cancer in the first place.
Yeah,
He said that he has the same type of thing that Biden has, and that he expects to be gone by summer, it's summer now. So I definitely understand, because he said that he had pain like he'd never had before. But I agree with Derrick that that I don't like the notion of committing suicide, and I question. Although I definitely understand that wanting to avoid the pain and the painkiller stuff, I'm very pro painkiller, selfishly. But I question the painkiller thing, because the pain that we go through in our bodies, I wonder sometimes if that's what causes the old school people maybe to like repent or something, Whereas if you just always kill your pain and then just die with no pain, I don't know. It just feels like it's cheating. But,
You're saying that.
I have had surgeries and stuff, and I'm so glad that they put me under and killed my pain and all that stuff.
Right.
But I have had kind of crazy pain, but he had crazy, crazy pain. And he's looked into all these different health solutions, and he said that his solution was something that you've never heard of, because he's heard it all, Scott Adams. So I'm not for it, but I definitely sympathize. In my body, I almost felt sick. Like I almost felt like fainting when I saw this video yesterday.
With Scott Adams?
Yeah, because I saw it in your packet yesterday from your producer here.
You almost fainted?
Well, I had to put my head down a little bit and sit down, because I identify with my body a lot. And when I've seen different gory things over time and shots and things like that, I just get queasy, woozy, squeamish. And I really, really like Scott Adams.
Yeah, me too.
I really admire him, and he's just too young to go. So it was a very tough thing to see for me mentally. I'm communicating with few words as possible.
Right.
Were you about to ask him a question or say something?
It sounded like you mentioned suffering, like back in, I guess,
the olden days before they had painkiller.
Yeah, before they had that stuff. It sounded like you were saying like the suffering brought them closer to God.
Maybe.
Is that right?
Maybe. I'm speculating.
He just wants to debate.
What?
Derrick wants to debate?
I was just asking a question.
That was what I was trying to say. Was I wonder if all that crazy pain that you go through that you can't solve.
In the good old days, you said cancer is in everybody's body, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the good old days, I never heard of anyone die, and they lived to be 80, 90, 100, and 110. I never heard of anyone dying of cancer.
How do you know it wasn't of cancer?
It was natural causes.
Cancer is a natural sort of a cause?
No, it's not.
How do you know that it wasn't cancer, though?
Because they died naturally.
Right, and that could have been cancer or anything. I don't know.
Could have been. You're assuming.
No, I'm not. You're assuming it wasn't.
Nick, what do you think about, because I want to get you some calls here, because of time, What do you think about Scott Adams considering euthanization?
At first, it made me think about how they were offering that in Canada. How I read about that. They're offering medical assistance in dying. And it just makes you think about things that are a little hard to answer. It just made me wonder about him, for example. I don't consider him, like, totally irrational. It's strange to see this man that I see him, like, rationally, almost reasonably saying something like this that I almost want to say, wow, that's reasonable. But
Yeah,
I wonder, too.
that's a good point.
I also out loud wonder, how can you ever be truly reasonable in making a decision in pain? And it's just a thing I wonder, right? I really don't have the answer to that. It did make me think a lot, though.
When I first heard him say that, I was surprised because I never imagined that Scott would consider something like that. But then I realized, I wonder how, I thought, well, maybe he must be like in real pain for him to consider that. And so I don't know his pain, so I understood it, but I was literally surprised and shocked to hear that because I really wish him well. I wish everybody well, even my enemy. But I was just surprised, and I know he must be in bad pain for him to consider something like that. To the point, you said that they brought the medication to him, right?
He had it. I think they shipped it to him.
All right.
Multiple doctors confirmed he had terminal cancer, terminally ill, and approved that thing.
And then I wonder, had not they legalized euthanasia, would he ever, if they had not legalized that, would he have considered that as an alternative to do it anyway? I thought about that too.
Mm-hmm.
But because the opportunity was there, was that the temptation to make him want to do it? Because I believe God can do all things. And how do you know for sure that God's not going to heal your body, you know? Because even in pain and seems like it's never going to end, healing is always possible. So how do you know that? Here you go, you kill yourself, whether legal or illegally, and then you get down there and you're like, oh, you're going to heal me? What the?
That's true.
I just wonder if at some point there's even no point in caring or wondering about healing the body. But I guess you would have to be making a decision should you end your life. And that part bothers me.
I can't imagine ending my own life. And no, I'm not saying I would do it or never do it, would or would not do it, but I can't imagine that. And so I'm going to try to interview with him if he's still doing interviews to see. I want to talk to him about his pain and what really in his mind that made him totally make that decision.
I've been in that situation before.
What situation?
Like imagining to, suicidal thoughts. I think everybody battles that.
Yeah.
So I
You're right
kind
about
of understand like where he is in a way, but he's suffering physically.
Yeah.
So he's waking up in this pain, and
It must be really painful too.
Yeah.
So you consider suicide when the rainbow wasn't enough?
Rainbow. What does that
why
mean?
You considered it. If the rainbow was enough, you wouldn't have considered it.
Rainbow is that's a play.
Oh.
Black girls, or maybe white girls, who considered suicide when the rainbow wasn't enough. They had so much pain, like emotional, mental pain.
I see.
Amazing. 888.
You interviewed somebody who had written an open letter to somebody who this young woman died at 38, but you interviewed her, I think, before she died. She had like brain cancer or something, or breast cancer that spread to the body, and she died at 38. And she wrote this open letter to somebody who was she lived in Oregon, and that was when Oregon, I think, was like the only state, or Washington, the only state where they allowed assisted suicide, euthanasia. And she wrote this letter to her trying to stop her from, or encouraging her not to do the doctor-assisted suicide.
I kind of remember that.
Kara Tippett was the woman that you interviewed.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
What a mess. Well, I wish you well, Scott. I really do, man. Scott Adams.
Indeed.
Really. I got to take a break. When I come back, your phone calls and super chats. 888-7753-773. Thank you, experts. I appreciate it. Amazing. Treasure chest is now open and stretch off on
Pill.net.
Pill.net. Back in a moment. Anytime you have situations happening in your life, always be still. Don't overreact. Most of the people that I know, they say, oh, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm an observer. And as soon as something don't go their way, they get mad. I'm like, what the? If you overreact, folks, remember to do that. Don't overreact. And when you get mad, it's your problem. It ain't your wife's problem, your husband's problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen. But it's amazing to see it. So relax. Bless you. Welcome back. 888-7753-773. Number one, don't forget to support our fundraiser. We have a fundraiser going there, and we got to raise up to $50,000. And I'm asking for your support, all right? Go to rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com. You can give more, of course, rebuildingtheman.com/donate. Or call 800-411-2663, 411-BOND. And the Hake report is coming up at the top of this hour. The Hake, Hake report.com from 9 to 11. And after that, the American Anchor Baby at 11 a.m. from 11 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. You don't want to miss, all right? Amazing. Let me go to... first time caller, John, out of North Carolina. John, you're on the air.
Sure. Happy White History Month and Big Beautiful Bill Month.
Thank you, John. Happy White History Month, man. Amazing.
I wanted to ask about the other guy that called in a little while earlier that said that he couldn't tell if he was hearing from God or if it was an evil force that was speaking to his mind, and I wanted to assure him that it was an evil force because the Bible is clear that Satan himself presents himself as an angel of light, and it could take days for some people, depending on their mindset, or for most people, many years or even decades for evil to bring us down. But it's always there working, and this spirit that was trying to tell him to fast was originally to bring our body into a state to make it easier for us to kind of associate spiritually for God and with God, but the enemy could also be trying to use that to bring him down to a state to commune with him and take him further into wherever the evil wants to take him, if that makes any sense.
Well, I know for a fact and without a doubt that even Christ said that your thoughts, not my thoughts, your ways are not my way, and that God's voice is a quiet, still voice. It's a voiceless voice. And if anyone want to, if you really want to know and recognize God's voice without a doubt, you're going to have to doubt those thoughts. You got to stop listening to them. And when you don't listen to thoughts, there's nothing left but the voice of God. You have no other choice but to hear that. And once you recognize it, you hear it, you recognize it, you would never forget it. You start following that, the voiceless voice of God, rather than the thoughts and things like that. John, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Super. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Amazing. Happy White History Month. Let me go to Hayden out of Texas. Oh, Hayden is God. Let me go to Marcos. Marcos out of New Hampshire. Marcos, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Jesse?
All is well.
Nice. Quick question. When people are lying, spreading lies to mutual friends about you and your family, when is it a good time to speak up about it, or do I just stay focusing on me and my family and handle it like that?
Lay your weapon down. Never argue with the devil. Never try to prove anything to anyone. You don't owe anyone any explanation at all, and just live your life. Don't even think about it. That's on them. Has nothing to do with you. Don't fight with the devil.
Okay, that's amazing.
You don't owe the world an explanation. You don't owe anyone any explanation about anything. So don't fight with the devil. Just live your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
All right.
I wish I had more to say to you. I like talking to you, man.
Happy White History Month.
Happy White History Month. Happy new health stuff that you're doing. That's
Right
really
on.
amazing.
Thank you. And so
Thank you.
Stop fighting with the devil. Lay your weapon down, and don't be angry at those people. They're asleep and they don't know what they're doing, really. And so you just live your life, and you don't hold anyone any explanation. Don't explain anything to anyone. All right?
I see that, because it's kind of like taking a step backwards again, right?
Yeah, don't defend anything.
I see that. Thank you, Jesse.
All right,
God
buddy.
bless.
You too. Amazing. 888-775-3773. Let me go to James out of Indiana. James, you are on the air.
Happy White History Month, Jesse.
Happy White History Month. It is amazing. July
It
just
is amazing.
feels white.
It's so white, I'm on vacation right now.
Nice.
First day. Yes,
That's amazing, too, that the 4th of July is coming up this weekend already.
It's too quick. And
Yeah.
we've been here so long. America's been kicking so strong for so long. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of kicking strong for so long, I wanted to say something, man. I'm glad you're still around. I'm glad you're looking healthy. I'm glad everything's well.
Thank you.
Y'all scared the hell out of everybody last week. I tried calling, but I didn't get in. I see a lot of people giving you advice, and I think it's really cool because you've been giving a lot of people help for so long. So to see you kind of take some help it's a nice thing to see. I will say, I'm sure you're aware, everybody's trying to do their best, but a lot of the health advice is woo-woo, So as you're aware, just find yourself a good doctor, which is hard to do. And if you can't, you could always just use them to get the blood work results.
Yeah.
You could kind of piece it together on your own.
I'm
One of the
working on
biggest
that
things
now.
that's it. You've mentioned before that, it's like no one's coming to save you, So it's
Right.
the same thing with your health. You got to kind of take that in your own hands, and if God's got it to be, it'll be, Jesse. But I know He's got you. You ain't going nowhere.
It's
You got
amazing
too
to
many
me
people.
that thank you. I think he hung up. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. It's amazing to me that in the good old days there were like real doctors around, and they would really examine you, and if they gave you medication, it was just for a short period of time, but they would tell you exactly what's wrong. Here's the medication you need, and then next time you see them, if all well, they take you off. That's gone now. It's all about the money. I can't believe that these people put your life at risk, And I know about it because I've seen it happen to so many people, and I've heard horror stories, and it's crazy. Oh, James is back. So thank you, James. I absolutely appreciate it, man.
No, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Thanks for taking me back.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, but all in all, thank you. I'm glad you're here. The people need you. I love you. And keep doing what you're doing, Jesse. But I did have a small question for you.
Okay.
I figured the Great Black Hope is the only one who could help me with this one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm young. I'm 29. I did my fair share of looking into my life. You know, I've forgiven my parents. Never had my father. My mother was around. I've forgiven her. I've seen what I need to forgive her for. Even to the point where, you know, Jesse, I realized that it's not them. You know, it's not the outside world. I could really see it's me, you know, because now I'm on my own. I own place, my own thing, and I'm still living in the same hell, you know, and there's no outside factors that are causing it. It's literally just me. And so one of the things that's been happening recently, and it's kind of, I don't know, it actually sucks. I'll be sleeping, right? I'll go to sleep at night, and maybe within a few hours, somewhere around 3 to 5 hours, I'm waking up. And not only am I waking up, but I'm waking up as if there's like a full-on conversation going on in my head with multiple different people talking, as if they were already talking 30 minutes before I woke up. And it's been happening every day, more and more, to the point where I'll wake up sweating, you know, not crazy sweating, but just in fear, you know. And everything I do in life, Jesse, I'm fearful to do. I really am. And I hate it. And I don't know why, because I want to go do the things. Like, I'll go get a new job. I'll go to the interview. I'll talk to the people. I'll talk to a girl. But the whole time I'm doing all this, I'm scared. Like, I'm scared. I'm thinking how it's going to go wrong. I'm thinking how everything's going to fall through. It's just never ending. Even if I get through it, I can't even enjoy the fruits of what I just did, because now I'm still worrying about it. Oh, did I look stupid? Did I overreact? Did they watch me freak out? It's like you just can't catch a break, even if you are trying to stand up tall. So what do you think about that, Jesse? Have you had experience with people not having peace while they're sleeping?
And when you say that you are afraid, who are you talking about?
Yes. So you're right. I get it. And
No, that was a question.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
No, that was a question.
Well, it's me. I'm thinking it's me. I'm thinking it's all me. This is all happening to me.
And when you say me, who are you referring to?
This good-looking dude you're talking to.
Well, I don't understand. Who are you? Who is the me that you're talking about?
The one that's experiencing these things that I'm going through. That's how I perceive it. It feels like I'm inside. So the way, I don't know. I'm not the best at explaining, but it's like a snow globe. Like I could interact with the world.
Right.
I could see it. I can, but it's like it's not real. It's not. I can't really touch what's actually happening. Like I'm living in a fake reality. Like
have you overcome your anger?
No.
And why not? Why not?
You know what? I just don't do any of the things. Like I did a lot of the things, you know, forgiving and trying to look at myself. But let's say, like, I guess the real hard work, you know, of when that moment comes up again and you got to steer left instead of right or do the thing you've always done. I shy away. I let that fear when that moment comes up, and then I give right back into the very same things that made me comfortable. Like I'll just go smoke pot and do nothing.
How old are you?
29.
Have you heard me say, have you gone and forgiven your mother?
I have heard you say that.
Have you done that?
I have gone to my mother, and I have forgiven her.
And
I don't have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How about your father?
Yes, he died when I was 2.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I do see. Listen, Jesse, I can see it. I see exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it. I've seen how they didn't come together the right way. You know, I see how I am acting just like them. I've even had relationships that were going the same route that my parents went, and I stopped it. And so that's, I'm trying to take this time in my life to adjust that course. I don't want, because if I keep going, I'm going to get what I've always gotten and what the generation, and it's not going to be any different.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
I ain't going to lie to you. Nope.
And why not?
Because because I'm too busy smoking pot and thinking I could do it my way. I think, like, it's weird, man. I'll do it for like 2 minutes in the morning, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. Then I'll go smoke pot, and then I'm like, all right, you just lost it.
So do you have a job now?
Yeah, I got a good career. I made sure I did that. I'm a mechanic. I got good work. I make a good wage. I don't have a family yet, so all my money's mine.
And so, if you really, really want to be free from all this hell, because you are in hell, is that I recommend you do the silent prayer, and then when anger come or fear come or whatever thoughts and emotions you're getting, as long as you don't have physical issues there, right? So I'm not a doctor, but as long as you when those things come, you if you want to be free from them, you got to relax in them. You got to relax in the hell, but see the hell, relax in the hell, so you can go through the hell. When you relax in it, the light, God will take it away from you. Christ is the light. And Christ said, bring all your darkness unto me. Bring all your misery to me. And so if you can just see it and don't call it you, don't say, I am afraid, or I am lonely, or I need you, or I need that, right? When you stop identifying with it and just be aware of it, I promise you the light, you're taking it to Christ, the light will destroy the darkness. But you got to live with it and still go about your day, even though you may feel the spirit of fear. It's an illusion. You still do what you need to do, and that illusion will start to disappear. Fear is not even real. It's just an illusion. And it will disappear if you just go on with your life anyway, knowing that you're aware of the fear, but don't call it you. It will die. It will be taken away from you, and you'll be free from it.
So if people identifying with the fear and the anger is causing a lot of the problem, how should you look at it then? As if it's outside of you or not you? How would you look at it?
It's totally inside of you. Everything that is happening to you is happening inside of you. That's why you got to know yourself so you can see what's going through you, what's happening in you. And so it is happening in you, and it's no one else's fault. So don't blame anyone for it.
No.
Just see it and know that it is happening in you, but it's not real. And it will be taken away from you, but you got to live with it, sleep with it, walk with it, and just don't call it you. And be aware. Don't try to escape. Don't try to. Are you on a speakerphone or something?
No, sir. But I think it's just me being close to the outside door. Can you hear me good now?
I hear you. But you got to live with it. And even at night, you wake up 2 in the morning or whatever. Don't make sleep that important at all. Don't make it a big deal. And when you wake up, if you were doing the silent prayer, you would lay there and just be because the only reason you're having all this fear when you wake up, you're waking up in an unconscious state. You've been sleeping. You were asleep, living in your mind, just like you are when you're walking around. So you're unconscious. So when you wake up, just be aware of those thoughts and feelings. Relax. Take a breath, relax, become aware, and you'll fall back asleep.
One last thing, if you don't mind, to piggyback off this. So the opposite of this, and I can see what I'm doing, what I'm going through isn't right. Like, it's not natural. And the way I know is because when I was a child, I can remember, and I'm not saying like 2 or 3, but maybe 4, 5, 6, 7. I remember being alive and experiencing life and doing certain things. But when I remember and I look back, I didn't have the same mental strain. I didn't have the same amount of thoughts racing through my head. I didn't even have the same perspectives looking at the outside world with my eyes. And what I mean is, as that child, I remember it vividly. Everything looked brighter. I mean, like the colors that you would see in the grass, the sky, everything seemed brighter. There, just the way you see things was like pure. There was no like you saw.
And
I would
so
watch my parents.
Because of time, what's your point?
Well, okay, yeah. Well, I would watch my parents fight and evil things happening, and none of these things affected me like it does now. And I hold on to that as if that was the right way to live life as that child, because there was nothing affecting.
But you can't hold on. Don't hold on to anything. You're holding on to an illusion. You want to let go of all ideas, all past, all future, all illusion, all ideas, so you can be free. You're holding on to an illusion.
Damn. So yeah. So even the children ain't getting into the kingdom of heaven. No, I'm just kidding.
And if you're serious about this, you gotta be still and let the light take over, and it will. And then if you really, really do this, what you're gonna soon find out is that you, the real James, isn't going through anything, and you've never gone through anything, and you will never go through anything. It's that false self that you have identified with. That's what's going through things, because it doesn't want to die. It want to live in you, stay in you, and live in you. So evil cling to the person. It hold on because it does not want to let go. It need a place to live. So it's clinging to you, and you're identified with it, and it's difficult to let it go. But the real you have not experienced one pain at all.
Yeah, it's wild. Because it doesn't feel like that, I tell you what.
Because you have identified with a false self. You think you're your thoughts, your feelings, emotions, your body. You identify with a false self, and that's the problem with every human being. They'll call it a false self themselves, and then they have been lied to all their lives as how to live, and they're trying to live up to an illusion. You got to let go of everything in order to have real life. So you got to let go of this illusion of your childhood.
So what would be the first step? Quick and simple. How would you even begin to
do the silent prayer and watch those thoughts, and stop calling them you. You can realize, I see those thoughts. That's not me. I feel the pain in my body because you're not catching the pain yet, but it's not me. Don't call it you. And I promise you, that's what Christ meant when he said, in order to have a life, you got to give up a life. And what you're giving up is this false self that you're calling you. You are not those things. That's the thing that made a home in you and to make you think that is you, but it's not.
Those last few things you're just holding on so strong. I mean, you could cut off, but then when you're really trying to get rid of it, then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, screw it, I'll just be a drug addict. Or you just double down on the last few things and really get you.
And don't you can't overcome anything of yourself. There's nothing, not one human being can do, man or woman, Christian or non-Christian, can do to set themselves free. Only the light can set you free. You cannot set yourself free. That's why you have to submit all to the light. You got to let it all go, and the light will do it. You can't do anything about it. And the more you try to do about it yourself, the deeper you're going into darkness.
So let go of your life.
You got to let go of everything.
Everything.
All thoughts,
you let it
all
go.
emotions. All thoughts, all emotions, everything. You got to surrender to the pain. You got to go through the hell. So I got to go because of time.
Yeah.
But you got to, if you want to be free, James, you got to get serious, do the silent prayer. Try not to smoke the pot to escape the pain. But if you feel like you just can't help it, be conscious of doing it so you don't escape from it.
Jesse, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, brother.
All right, you stay with it, man.
All right, God bless.
You too. Super chat. Super.
Super chats.
Pastor Chatelet gifted the cookie over on pilled.net. In Chicago, you can see the tumbleweeds rolling down the street after they rip them off each other's heads in a black battle royale. he says.
Amazing. Thank you.
Uncle Ruckus, I can feel White History Month getting close. This was yesterday, when it was still not White History Month. Happy birthday, America, land that I love.
Amazing. You can get your White History Month t-shirts at JessieLeePeterson.shop. It's not too late.
And Mark bought a super chat yesterday. People fight me over my mama, and I'm like, what? When I explain how I forgave her, strong arm, heart, thanks, hands, idea, they call me evil.
That's why it's not good when you heal. Don't tell anyone, because you're going to be attacked by demons from everywhere. They're going to try to destroy you. Stay with us, stay with us, stay with us. Amazing.
Another from Uncle Ruckus. God said, I am that I am. That's deep.
Amazing. Thank you.
Indeed. Bert, 3 Coffees, biblical question. I am not a tumbleweed, but working on it, because the tumbleweed has no will, just exists and goes where the wind takes it.
Amazing. Thank you. I'll put my 2 cents in on Sunday.
Aries 1 sent multiple 10 gift memberships on Jesse Lee Peterson channel. Thank you.
Amazing.
Dominic May, 3 coffees, Jesse Lee Peterson and friends on a Monday yesterday.
Amazing. Thank you.
Cornerstone says Bond on Cash App.
Right on. Thank you, Cornerstone.
Pastor Shadowley says the only lefties on pill.net make sock accounts and deliver salt to us via their tiers so we can make this delicious bacon. Amazing.
Amazing.
At this point, just call me Mike. One at a time. Can y'all ask at each other's like 3 times? Only for entertainment purposes. Ask.
Amazing. Thank you.
Oops, we did it twice at a time. Eric, 3 coffees in response to the biblical question, are you a tumbleweed?
Are you a tumbleweed?
No, I'm not directed by external influences.
Amazing. I'll put my 2 cents on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. It's midnight, your Uber driver. Morning, Jesse. Black, I was a personal trainer over a decade. Does that make me an expert? I don't recommend eating oatmeal or any grains. Eat only meat for best results, poultry, raw cheese, and fruit. Vegetables are bad because of the pesticides sprayed on them to keep them, quote-unquote, fresh. Fruit's better because they have a ripe phase, he says.
So if they had not put the pesticides on it, would it be fine to eat it?
I don't know. He doesn't get into that part.
Amazing. Thank you.
Just Joe, what manner of woman is this? The wig and the weave obeys her. It's July all year round in Israel, says Elijah.
Amazing. Thank you.
Get it? Hannah's 10 coffees, very generous. Amazing Sunday service, Jesse. Thank you.
Rebuildingaman.com/church. Check it out. Thank you.
Groove and Mastiff, now a member on the buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk.
Amazing. Thank you.
Would like to know if it's normal to lose emotion towards your parents after you begin to wake up.
100%.
Right on. That's what he's feeling.
Yeah.
And he goes into it, but we don't have time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Not for your non-pithy support. Eric, 33 coffees. To all the people believe they have nothing to forgive their parents for, unless your parents gave you perfect stillness, they taught you to react to a false reality. Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
If they want to be free, every human being got to forgive their mothers. There's not one that don't have. If they want to be free, you should not forgive and stay in your misery, in your pain, your thrills. Amazing. Thank you.
And we'll have to read the rest of yesterday's and today's Super Chats tomorrow, guys.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Check out our fundraiser to help get us there to 50,000. Hake coming up. Daniel out of Maryland. Ardeen out of Colorado. Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. I'm out of time. I'll be back tomorrow. Manhood Hour. Happy White History Month. Thank you all.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.
Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped by the show?
I'm going to tell you this. I believe you might go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, black man that ever lived on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anybody before you that's been that great. Freeing the slaves is one thing, but you've been freeing people of their mind, which matters. It should be anyhow to you more than anything else, because with the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt every thought because you're not your thoughts, if you can doubt every thought, knowing that you're not your thoughts, you don't create them, they're not from God, that they're from the deceiver, the great deceiver, Satan. If you can doubt every thought, you can be free, just like that. At an instant. Bring every thought into captivity. It's so amazing.